This is where MAGA comes to talk. Welcome, one and all. We got a lot to cover on the program today, and a couple big stories that we'll get to. If you're new, make sure that you subscribe. Oh, welcome. Good morning. Good welcome. Good MAGA morning. It is Wednesday already. Can you believe it? I'm just setting up over here still. All right. Check one more thing. Thank you for the bless yous in advance. Okay. Yes. Well, welcome, one and all. We're just a couple minutes away. I'm just waiting to hear from Mike at the radio station. If you watch on my other stream, which I'll start in a couple of minutes, you can see and hear everything. If you're watching on this stream, you get the background. You'll be able to hear me and the callers on this stream, but not the audio sound bites or see the videos. You got to go to my other stream for that. All right? Okay. We'll be live in about 5 minutes. I didn't know he was building a bunker, but if anyone needs one, it's him. I mean, these liberals are after him like crazy. It's insane. Completely insane. People have lost their minds. Oh, excuse me. There's this update on the Christi Noem purse snatching is total BS. I don't buy any of it. We already have someone calling in. What's your name? Where are you calling from? What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Grant, Alabama.
Hey, what's up, Brian? The show hasn't started yet, so do you want to talk now or wait? I'll put you on hold. Wait? All right, I'll put you on hold. He sounds like a winner. The rest of you on hold, hang in there. Welcome, everyone. Yeah, we'll be live in a minute. Welcome, everyone, to the program. My name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. We got a lot to cover today. There's an update on the Christi Noem purse snatching that I'm going to get to you in just a bit. But the update backs up, I think, my theory that it was a deep state op and an attempt to get her cell phone. The story is just total BS. I'll get to that in a little bit, but there's a few other things I'm going to talk about first. If you're on hold, stand by. My name is Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. And if you want to call in live on the program, the number is pinned in the live chat. We're going to be live in 20 seconds. Stand by. Well, welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. It is Wednesday already. We've got a lot to cover. We're going to get into a lot of things today and your calls. If you're on hold, hang in there. There is an update on the Christi Noem purse snatching that I'm going to get to in a little bit that I believe backs up my theory of a deep state op attempting to steal her cell phone. And we got a lot of other things we're going to cover as well. There's a story today. This Obama judge, who has hair shorter than mine, Obama judge, I'm not sure how you pronounce this name, Xinis, Zinnis. Okay, that's her name. Judge Paula Zinnis, an Obama appointee, erupted on the Trump administration after a conference to address the government's dispute over discovery that of the Kilmar Garcia case. The Obama judge accused the Trump administration of defying her court order and ordered the government to provide more details by Wednesday about its decision to send Garcia to El Salvador's prison, which he's not in that prison, that CCOT with a T at the end. He's not there, according to the president of El Salvador. They moved him to a different prison. Kilmar Garcia is an El Salvadorian national. He was illegally residing in Maryland. I'm reading from the Gateway Pundit. In 2019, an immigration judge ordered him, an alleged member of the terrorist organization known as MS-13, removed from the United States. Additionally, an immigration appellate court also upheld the immigration judge's decision. There's his due process. And it goes on. So, and there's stories every day about, sometimes it's the Supreme Court, sometimes it's an Obama judge. There's even some 90-something-year-old Clinton judge in the news today. And, I've been telling you guys that the President of the United States, whoever they are, is not supervised by federal judges. Federal judges are not a presidential committee. Federal judges are not the president's boss. And I believe he should ignore all these federal judges because they have no authority over him in this matter, certainly. But this is what I really realized yesterday between this idiot judge and the Supreme Court rulings. And I saw these idiot Democrats go to El Salvador to try to meet this wife-beater, terrorist MS-13er, Garcia, including Presley from the squad, who looked like a complete idiot. I believe she's probably certifiably insane. If you look at her, she always has this smirk on her face. She's in love with herself. She thinks she's very important and doing great things. But the president of El Salvador trolled all of those Democrats. And when I saw that story, I realized this, that all Democrats are in denial. There's these stages of grief. I don't remember what all the stages of grief are, anger, denial. Whatever stage it is, they're in the denial phase of grief. And the Democrats believed that they were going to be running this country forever. In particular, minority Democrats, women, Hispanics, blacks, they thought that white people were going to be shut out into second-class citizen status, and that there was some national agreement that white people have had a voice long enough and their voices will no longer be heard, and that this country was going to be run forever, at least for the next 100 to 200 years, by liberal, racist Democrats. And then Trump came back and won this beautiful second and non-consecutive term, and their world was shattered. They're losing everything. And this trans sports thing they're fighting for, they're losing all these things that didn't earn it. DEI, going away. The deportation of the illegals. The pulling the funds from these Ivy League universities. The deportation of these people on these fake student visas that are really organizing for Iran's terror organization in this country. They're deporting them. All the beautiful things that are going on. The Democrats are in denial. And what they're in denial about is this. They do not accept the fact that Donald Trump is the president of the United States of America. He's the president of the United States. He's the commander-in-chief. And he is bound by the oath that he's taken twice, because this is his second term, to protect this country. We have been invaded by over 20 million invaders. Yeah, sure. Biden let them in, which he had no authority to do. Biden let in rapists, murderers, and illegals into this country for 4 years, over 20 million of them. And President Trump is repelling an enemy army, a violent one in many instances, from our borders. That's what the commander-in-chief main function is. And these Democrats, whether it's these idiot judges, whether it's these idiot members of Congress that keep going down to El Salvador to try to bring a wife beater back into the home with the woman that he beat up multiple times, they're in denial that he's the president. And not only is he the president, Pete Hegseth is the Attorney General. Tom Homan is the Secretary of Defense. Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Defense. Pam Bondi is the Attorney General. Tom Homan is the border czar. Christi Noem is the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, and the list goes on. You're not in charge anymore. The Democrats, you and your wackadoodle ideas have been rejected by the majority of the American people. And I don't care what your judges say. They do not have authority over the President of the United States. At least not in this matter. He shouldn't listen to any of them at all. He should completely ignore them, including the Supreme Court of the United States. I have followed every president of my lifetime. I've never seen judges think they were the presidents, a presidential committee. This is an extension of the Lawfare. It's a law coup. It's a law insurrection. It is interrupting government business, which fits the definition of insurrection according to the left. And he should ignore them. They do not have authority over him. The Democrats, there was a time when the Democrats stood up for women. Now they're defending a wife beater. I don't get that. I don't get that at all. They're fighting to keep these rapists and murderers in our country. Now, I got a lot I want to share with you today and take your calls at 1-888-465-2631. Including, I'm going to play a clip in a little bit. Tucker Carlson interviewed the president of El Salvador about MS-13. And what the president of El Salvador shared about MS-13 is amazing, including the fact that President Clinton, Bill Clinton, is responsible for their massive growth throughout the Americas, including the United States of America. And he shares a lot of things about MS-13 that I don't think most of us know. But since his country used to be run by them and he got them under control, the president of El Salvador is one of the leading experts on MS-13. So I'm going to play this in a little bit, and it'll put in some perspective how evil this Garcia and MS-13 are. And also I'll get into the insane update on the Christi Noem purse snatching. So we got a lot to cover today. Those are just a couple of things, and your calls as well. But first I want to tell you about the free doorbell camera offer from Slomin's. This is amazing. You can get a free doorbell camera that connects directly to your cell phone with the installation of your Slomin Shield. Anytime there's movement in the front of your house, you get a notification on your phone. You can look and see who's there. No matter where you are in the world, maybe you're at the grocery store, the mall, out to dinner, out to lunch, at work, or maybe you're tied up in the bathroom at home. Who knows? But it's a great thing to have. It's a security feature to the home, but it's also a great convenience in this day of DoorDash and Amazon deliveries and Instacart. So I'm going to give you the number in a moment, but Slomin's, they're also going to give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. You get an LED touchscreen, a motion detector, 10 contacts, a lifetime warranty, a backup battery, plus you'll receive a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Slomin Shield. Here's the number, 1-833-283-5050, 1-833-283-5050. That's 1-833-283-5050. All right, we'll take our first break of this Wednesday morning. My name is Brian Craig. If you're on hold, hang in there. Our number is toll free, 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. We'll be right back. Welcome. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. And if you'd like to call in, the number, the toll-free number, it's toll-free no matter where you're watching, is pinned in the chat. Welcome. And if you're already subscribed, please like the video and share on your socials if you don't mind. That helps a lot. If you're on hold, hang in there. This is a radio station break, those of you that are new. I got to catch up on my coffee here. From Iran, I don't know. You can try. You're allowed to watch YouTube in Iran? I did not know that. We'll be back in less than a minute. Mm-hmm. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. We'll take some calls, and then I'll get into some of the new things and updates. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Grant, Alabama.
All right, Alabama. What's up? Here we go. Right out the box. Yeah, you called me. All right. Yeah, all right. You lost your chance, buddy. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, what's up? My name is Mark.
Yeah, Mark.
I'm doing good. How about you?
What? I didn't hear what you...
whatever. Come on.
You're on. You're on the air. What's on your mind? You're on the air.
Okay. Sorry, there's a bit of a delay.
Yeah.
All right, so I just wanted to debate you on any topic you wanted.
Well, the way that works is you listen to what I'm talking about on the show, and then if you take issue, you call in. I don't have random people call in and run topics by you. This is, that would be sad and pathetic. Pick something you've heard me say, and we can talk about it.
Well, I believe you're wrong about the whole denial thing.
Okay.
So, but I'm not here to talk about that. I just want to say you're doing a great job. MAGA 100%.
All right. Take care. Appreciate it. All right. We're starting off not with the best of the best. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Christian.
Yes, Christian.
I'm from Michigan.
Christian in Michigan. What's on your mind, Christian in Michigan?
So my biggest thing that I don't understand about MAGA is I hear constantly that you guys are worried about the children and how we need to stop pedophiles and that drag queens reading to kids are a big problem because it's harming kids and putting them in a situation where sexual energy is present, essentially.
Okay, well, I'll slow down. I'll comment on that. You're talking about like the drag queen story hours that are like in elementary schools?
Well, yeah.
Okay, now hold on a second. Hold on a second. Well, wait, hold on. Let me get you. Hold your next point, but I want to comment on that, okay? I've got no problem with drag queens. I've got no problem with drag shows. In fact, years ago on this station, or not on this station, but on this program, on this show, we used to sponsor a dinner club that was a drag queen dinner club where they had the female impersonators, and they did all of them, Cher and Liza Minnelli, and it was a very fine place. It was called the Cabaret in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And so I got no problem. But there are certain things that are not for young children. There are certain things that are adult entertainment, okay? Drag queens is one of them. And I'll give you another one. Like Hooters, right? You know Hooters, the restaurant, the girls with the tight clothes with the big Hooters? It would be inappropriate to have Hooters girls in their Hooters uniforms having story time in elementary school with kids. Hooters is adult entertainment. Same thing with the drag queen. So when you hear MAGA people talk about drag queen story hour, it's not that they're against drag queens. It's just adult entertainment that doesn't belong in the elementary school. So what's your main point, though?
So that's what I'm saying. I agree with you there. I don't think if there's a sexual energy like that in whatever performance it is, whether it be a male or female, gay, straight, whatever. My thing is the goal there is to protect children, essentially, right?
I guess I don't know. Keep going.
The goal would be that children shouldn't be exposed to sexual behaviors.
Yes, that is correct.
All right. So Jeffrey Epstein is a known child rapist, correct?
Okay. No, he's dead, right?
Trump was his best fucking friend.
All right, there we go. First dump of the day. There we go. All right, Mike. If you're on hold, stand by. We have to wait for the delay to re-engage. I had to dump the guy because he used some language you can't use on the radio. But I'll tell you what he said without the profanity. He said Jeffrey Epstein was Donald Trump's best friend. Nothing could be further from the truth. When Jeffrey Epstein first came to town, to Palm Beach, he was in a lot of the rich and celebrity circles. When Donald Trump found out what Jeffrey Epstein was about, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago and never let him back again. So no, they were not friends. They were not best friends. None of that is true. Okay, so these people. What I was talking about in the first segment, that the left, are in denial. They have all these fantasies that they believe, none of which are true about President Trump, including that one about Jeffrey Epstein. But I don't understand what it is with these liberals with their profanities. We're on the radio. You cannot use profanity on the radio. I'd love to have some more detailed conversation with you idiots, okay? But if you use profanity, you got to go. You can't use that language. So clean up your dirty mouths and don't use profanity, and we can have more extensive conversations. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. The delay is re-engaged. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, my name's Mark.
All right, Mark. Here we go. What's on your mind, Mark?
Well, you were just saying about the whole Epstein connection. I don't think that's true.
Well, then you don't know what you're talking about. I know you don't want to think it's true, but it's true. Look it up. Google it. There's a bunch of as soon as Trump found out what Epstein was about, he kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago and banned him from Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Yeah, I'm trying to be civil. You're coming off a little strong, man. You talk about wanting to have a civil.
Well, you're slandering the greatest president of my lifetime, Donald Trump, and I'm not going to let that stand. I got to correct it.
He should. Nah, I don't think so.
Well, then you're not informed. You should educate yourself a little bit.
Should I?
Yeah, well, if you're going to have an opinion on something, you would like it to be an informed opinion.
You see, Why do you think he distanced himself after the allegations came out?
I don't
It's
think
what you
it.
do.
I don't think it. I know it. See, I'm down here in Palm Beach, and before the world knew who Jeffrey Epstein was, he became very famous in our local news when these scandals first broke. He was on trial here in Palm Beach and everything, and it was very high profile for years before it was a national story.
Right.
So all these things that
Right.
I'm talking about, like with Trump, I experienced that because it was in our local news. Right, hold on. It was in our local news right here in Palm Beach, where I live.
Of course.
See, I have a lot of opinions, but my opinions are informed opinions, unlike yours and the last caller.
Well, why are you saying that it's uninformed when it's taken at face value?
What's taken at face value?
The whole deal about just straight off the bat saying like I'm uninformed.
Well, you said that what you said that when I told you that when President Trump found out about Jeffrey Epstein, he kicked him out and banned him from Mar-a-Lago. You said, I don't think that's true.
Yeah.
And I told you, you're just not informed.
Well, he did ban him from Mar-a-Lago.
Well, now you're agreeing with me.
Well, no, but about the I'm saying he did that as like for public, PR. I wouldn't think about the allegation prior to when he ran from politics.
Give me an example of what you're. Give me an example of what you're talking about. I don't know what allegation.
Peeking into like little girls' dressing rooms.
Who did that?
Trump.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't do that.
But if we were to say Biden did that, like at face value, you'd believe it.
No, I wouldn't believe it at face value. I'd have to have evidence. Okay, I'd have to have someone come forward, and we'd have to evaluate their credibility. No, I wouldn't.
Multiple people came forward.
Name one. Who came forward and said that Trump looked in little girls' dressing rooms? Give me a name.
Google it.
No, don't Google it. No. We were talking about specific people. Give me a name.
People in the chat.
People in the chat. Yeah, people in the chat on YouTube. Yeah. Oh my goodness. If you're on hold, hang in there. It's Wednesday. My name's Brian. We'll be right back. Oh boy. Welcome, everyone. If you're new, this is where MAGA comes to talk. My name's Brian Craig, and we're live on the radio. This is our bottom of the hour radio break, traffic, weather, all that stuff. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll go back to the calls after the break. We'll be back in about a minute. There's only one opening on our board right now. Why don't I get non-reflective? These are just reading glasses, cheap reading glasses. I lose these like crazy. I buy them by the box for like $1 each on Amazon. And reading glasses are not like regular glasses. I have 20/20 vision far away, but up close, I need reading glasses because I am 54 years old, and I buy, like a lot of guys, buy cheap reading glasses because you lose them all the time. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. There's only one opening on our very busy board at 1-888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Okay, that was good. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Dan. I'm sitting here with my girlfriend.
Oh yeah, what's her name? What's her name? What's your girlfriend's name?
Her name is Sophie.
Let me hear Sophie say hi.
Hi.
Oh my goodness,
so
she's sadder than you.
Yeah, we're just sitting here, and I just smoked a.
I'm sure you did. Now I'll tell you guys. Those of you out there that can't meet a girl, there's hope. Did you hear that, loser? He's actually got a girl with him. I'm in shock. I'm in complete shock. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning. This is Joanne from Tamarack.
Hey, Joanne.
Ryan. I am wondering where all these Democrats that are so worried about due process and checking on this guy in El Salvador to make sure he's healthy and happy. Where were they during the J6ers imprisonment?
Well, what about their people in their own districts that have been victimized by illegals? Like in Maryland, that Rachel Morin, she was raped and murdered in Maryland. Van Hollen didn't reach out to her family, but he's going to El Salvador? Come on.
Well, when the J6ers were in jail, they could have went a few blocks. It was right there in D.C. to check on them to make sure that they were healthy and well. I heard that prison wasn't too nice, and I heard that those guys were not getting due process.
Many of them were denied constitutional rights. Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, you're correct.
Where were they?
Not there. What's the difference? Okay, but hold on. Now think about this. Okay, what's the difference when you talk about idiots like Presley and Van Hollen? What's the difference between this wife beater from MS-13 in El Salvador and the J6ers?
Well, I don't know. They say it's not about the person. So if they said the J6ers...
Well, they're Democrats. They lie. The difference is the J6ers are white Republicans. They don't support justice for white Republicans.
Well, they're claiming that it's about due process, not the person.
They're lying.
I know they're lying. They changed their story because all this bad stuff came out about
And listen,
this guy.
anytime you hear Democrats talk about the Constitution, they're tearing it up. All right? Appreciate the call, all right? Okay, one opening where she was at. You're on the air. You're on the... Yeah.
Hello. My name's Tony from New Jersey.
Yeah. Here we go. Yes, okay, all right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, my name is John, calling from Wisconsin. Before you start scrutinizing me, I just want to say, if you're looking to have civil discourse, calling people idiot and losers, not the best way to go.
Have you heard these callers, the ones I've called idiots or losers? I mean, some guy called me and told me he was...
People idiots.
Well, a guy called me... Excuse me.
First of all, cutting people off.
I'm going to cut you off in a minute. When someone uses profanity...
I'll let you call me an idiot offline.
No. Oh, he hung up on himself. When someone uses profanity, I have to cut them off. We're on the radio. You cannot use profanity on the radio, all right? And I know millennials and Gen Z think the F word is just common English, but it is not permitted on the radio. So when you use the F word or other profanities, I have to cut you off. It is the law, actually. It's not a personal choice. It's the law. And so far as idiots and losers, I got a guy who's calling me at 6:30 in the morning telling me he's getting high. That's a loser, right? All right, let's go. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Brian. Mike in North Lauderdale. How are you?
All right, Mike.
Question: why don't these Democrats go to Gaza and save the Americans that are being held hostage there? I think that would be more important.
There's a good question. The American what? Okay, now let me ask you. The Americans that are being held hostage by the Hamas terrorists backed by Iran in Gaza, why do you think the Democrats don't want to help those people, but they want to help this wife beater, Garcia?
They're probably not going to vote Democrat.
No.
They're probably Republicans.
What the Americans held by Hamas in Gaza, what are they? That the Democrats don't like. Jews. Democrats hate Jews.
Democrats hate Jews.
Yes, they do. Even the Jewish Democrats hate Jews.
That's crazy because, yeah, like you say, a lot of the Democrats are Jews.
They're self-hating Jews.
And they talk about the Constitution. Where were these judges when Biden was letting all these illegals into our country?
The Democrats...
Where were the judges then?
Yeah, exactly. The Democrats have said, my entire life, when Democrats have talked about the Constitution, they've said this: the Constitution is no longer relevant. It was written by white racists for the purpose of maintaining white supremacy, and it's out of date. Obama even said that. So now all of a sudden, it's the gold standard to these people. Give me a break.
These people are, I usually don't listen this early in the morning. I just have to be going somewhere.
You miss a lot.
There's some weirdos out there.
You miss a lot when you miss the first hour. The first hour of the program is the most interesting oftentimes.
These people are brainwashed.
They are. They are. I know. All right, appreciate the call, man. North Lauderdale. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, Brian, this is Dave from Virginia. How are you?
All right, Dave, speak up.
Okay, I believe you're right that these Democrats are in denial, and I believe they'll never accept Donald Trump
That's right.
as president.
That's correct. Never.
Yep.
Never, never, never. You know, in 50 years, when President Trump passes away, in 50 years, if the Democrats are in charge, they may not let him lie in state in the Capitol building. That's how deep this goes.
Yep, and I believe that the federal judges have overstepped their bounds, and they need to be replaced.
They need to be ignored. Ignore them. Ignore them, President Trump. That's my advice. Ignore them. They have no authority over him. Not in this matter.
That's right.
All right, take care, man. Appreciate the call. It's nice to know we've got some people that have some brain waves going on. All right, our number is 1-888-465-2631. You know, I tell people oftentimes the first hour of the show is, you don't want to miss the first hour of the show. You really don't. I know it's early. You know, we're here from 6 till 9 a.m. Some people tune in the second hour. Some people tune in the third hour. Some people listen all 3 hours. But you don't want to miss the first hour. You're on the air. Okay. You're on the air.
Hey, Brian, how are you, bud?
All right, how are you?
I'm doing good. Hey, first-time caller. I came across your show. I saw you were wearing a "Make America Great Again" hat. So,
That's right.
I'm a moderate. I'm a moderate. I figured I'd call and I have a question for you.
Oh, here we go.
I typically ask this out of a lot of my friends who are Trump supporters. If Trump were to run for a third term, would you vote for him?
Yeah.
So, can I ask why you would vote for him for a third term? Because from my understanding, I thought the GOP was always a party that was really lived and died by the Constitution.
Yeah.
And that's something I really admired about the Republican Party and the GOP a lot.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe some of those beliefs are kind of being thrown by the wayside.
Okay, let me answer your question, okay? And I know a little bit more about what's going on than your friends, obviously.
I'm a political science degree major.
I'm so impressed. I'm so impressed. Another college boy. I'm so impressed. You know, you sound like Squid. Is it Squidward on SpongeBob? I went to college. The thing.
Typically bully most of your guests.
You're not a guest. You're a caller. But I'm going to answer your question. The Constitution. The Constitution only allows for 2 terms for a president, right? So why would I vote for him a third time? If the Constitution can be amended. That's what amendments are. If the Constitution were amended to allow him a third term, I would vote for him. See, right now, he couldn't even be on the ballot for a third term because of the Constitution. But the Constitution could be amended to allow him a third term. If it did and he ran, I'd vote for him. Now, as a poli-sci major, what's your college answer to that?
My college answer to that would be that I'm asking you a question.
And I answered it.
If he would run again.
And I answered it.
And you said that he would, and then you kind of backtracked on it. You said he wouldn't even be able to. But
I said I told you what would I told you what would happen. What would have to happen for him to run for a third term? Right now, he couldn't be on the ballot because the Constitution is against it.
That's just a little specious. I mean, there's no way that would be ratified.
How do you know that? You don't ratify an amendment. The House and the Senate vote on it. 3/4 of the state have to vote on it and agree with it, and then it's the law. The president signs it. That's it.
Yeah,
I'm sure you learned that in college.
Yeah. Well, come on. I just explained that to you.
Yeah.
It was just a simple question. You said that you would vote for him.
Yes.
I find that interesting.
What's it? Yeah, it's great. He's awesome. What president in your lifetime has been better than Trump?
Barack Obama.
Give me an example of something Barack Obama did that makes him a great president.
So I could start. He took us out of the 2008 financial housing crisis.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. That was over. That was over when he came into office. George Bush did that. That was over when he came into office. George Bush bailed out the banks. Oh, that was a disaster. He put the private health. Do you know how much? I don't have health insurance because of it. I would have to pay thousands of dollars in deductibles, $10,000 or more, and thousands a year to have 1 cent of coverage.
Did you just say that you don't have health insurance because of the Affordable Care Act?
Correct.
Okay, well then that means that you're an extremely high earner and that you could likely afford to pay for it. If you're a
no. I could buy it. I could afford to buy it. But my deductible would be about $12,000 a year, plus I'd have to pay hundreds of dollars a month every month. So I would have to pay maybe close to $20,000 a year before I got 1 cent of coverage. What sense does that make? When I go to the doctor, I just pay for it out of pocket, thanks to Obama. I used to have insurance before Obamacare.
You don't have insurance because you weigh the pros and the cons of it, not because of the Affordable Care
Oh my goodness. See what happens in college? They make you think you're smart when you sound like an idiot. What sense does it make to buy a health insurance policy that I have to pay $18,000 to $20,000 of before I get 1 cent of coverage? That's not health insurance.
But there's other things that the Affordable Care Act did that rose.
What did it do for me? What did it do for me? I don't have health insurance. I'm 54.
Health insurance companies had to cover pre-existing conditions. Do you not believe that health insurance?
Well, that's why health insurance costs me $20,000 a year, because it's not the health. I got to pay for these bums' pre-existing conditions. That's not health insurance.
Yes, it is. Health insurance should absolutely cover pre-existing.
So if you go around and have unprotected sex and have AIDS, I got to pay $20,000 a year to pay for your AIDS or your lung cancer from your smoking? That's crazy.
There's a lot of insurance policies that it's like something that
not when you're 50, not when you're my age. See, how old are you?
How old am I?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll tell you. I'm 27, and I'm admitted to a pretty prestigious law school. And
I'm impressed. I'm impressed.
I'm a JD candidate, yeah.
You're a what candidate?
JD candidate, a Juris Doctorate.
Oh, well, excuse me. I didn't realize I was talking to a law student. Hey, listen, I got to run for a break. Take care. Oh, my goodness. They just don't get... I know his phone had a bad connection, but I wanted to talk to that guy. Oh, my goodness. That's a great example. You got to be very careful when you send your children to college. College destroys minds. How would you like to take your hard-earned money and turn it into guaranteed income for the rest of your life? You know, all these people that are freaking out over the stock market right now, how would you like to have that stress out of your life? You can. You don't have to, all the money you've worked hard for all your life, you don't have to worry about the ups and downs of the stock market. Your nest egg can be safe and secure, always protected, where you don't lose any money, and you'll have an income stream for the rest of your life if you call Joe Thomas and talk to him about annuities. Joe Thomas is offering free phone consultations, which you can take advantage of no matter where you're located in the United States. Here's his number, 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. That's 561-743-0999. And if you missed the number, just go to his website. It's easy to remember. JupiterJoe.com. That's why I call him Jupiter Joe Thomas all the time, to make it easier for you to remember. JupiterJoe.com. We'll be right back. No doubt. All right. If you're on hold, hang in there. All right, we'll be back in just over a minute. Oh, boy. Well, listen to the first segment, rewind to the beginning of the show. My facts are correct. Yeah, isn't it plankton on SpongeBob? I went to college. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. celebrating 48 years on the radio. Kind of a little wacky Wednesday today. We got a lot of stories I haven't gotten to yet. I'll weed through some of these calls, and then after the top of the hour, I'll give you the latest update on the purse snatching of Christi Noem, which is completely insane. I don't buy that story at all. You're on the air.
Hi.
Hello. Okay, that was short and sweet. You're on the air.
Good morning, Brian. Chris from Buffalo Beach.
Hey, Chris. What's up?
Wow. Great show, man. Oh, my goodness. I wish I had 45 minutes to give my 2 cents. But, goodness, I mean, you're a patient man, and I'm so glad that you do inform and educate, which most of those libs don't want to hear the truth. Like the other day, you gave them so many facts and truth, and they just want to ignore it in one ear and out the other, and stay stuck in whatever derangement mode they're in. But, like, I'll start with your last caller, who has no skin in the game, as Steve says. He probably hasn't ever paid a dime for insurance himself, obviously. So, he's all for that Hillary care, which is really what it is, which failed, and then it really failed during Obama. I don't know why you say that.
If you're in your 20s in college, your insurance is almost free, and mommy and daddy might even be paying for it. But when you get to be older, insurance, because of the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, is not insurance at all. It's a wealth redistribution.
We had to change insurance companies when I was still, working with the city that I worked for until I retired. They had to change every year because of that mess. And the thing is, it's not affordable, and that's why they had to corrupt the judge to get it passed and do the reconciliation at midnight. I mean, it's a joke.
Before Obamacare, I had an insurance policy that was under $200 a month with no deductible. And now to get insurance that covers anything, I mean, you can get some cheap basic plan that covers nothing. But to get a plan that covers anything, it would cost me about $20,000 a year, maybe even more, between the premium and the deductible before I had 1 cent of coverage. That's not insurance. That's a ripoff.
100%.
I'll have insurance when I turn 65. In 11 years, when I turn 65, I'll get Medicare.
Yeah, they were outrageous. I use, as a veteran, and I'm with the VA system, but it was outrageous and it's ridiculous. And, and that's why they corrupt judges and they try and put like-minded activists in there to legislate from the bench and do this craziness that's going on now against President Trump.
Well, I'll tell you, when it comes to healthcare, we have a lot of sponsors. I need lab tests. I go to any lab test now of Boca or any lab test now of Coral Springs. If I hurt myself, I go see Dr. Appleton. We have sponsors. But I have a primary care physician. I pay out of pocket when I go to see them. And it's a lot cheaper than having these Obamacare policies.
It is. And you go to, like you said, your sponsor's great medical.
I mean, that's, yeah. I mean, if we have a primary care physician that'd like to advertise on the program, get in touch. Save me some money there, if you're good. But, that's what it is. I went to the primary care physician the other day. I paid for it out of pocket. I'm self-insured, basically.
Right. I really wish, you're reaching a lot of people across this great land, even internationally. But, my buddy Jim and I talk all the time. You really need to, it'd be nice if you ever replace either, Rush or Bongino, different ones, because and America really needs to hear the back and forth. They should have
put me in Bongino's slot when he left that show. Okay? And that's a fact. They should have put me in that Bongino slot. But, Bongino's wife, and they're trying to maintain control over that, and they put that strange guy, I forgot his name, in his place, who sucks. Who looks fun, weird too.
100%.
But that's life. I'm doing all right.
And it's great that you have that you let them call in, and like you guys said, idiots. My goodness, well, what are they if they're not idiots?
Yeah.
But you set them straight. I like that they want to accuse you of being mean, but listen, they're teachable moments, and that's how everyone else learns because it's awesome. It's entertaining, and they
when they say mean, these millennials and Gen Z, I'm not your mommy and daddy that coddle you too much and give you participation trophies. Okay, this is Gen X parenting right here, man. This is the real world.
You gotta grow up, especially that last caller. But no skin in the game at all. And he's trying to praise this affordable care, which is not affordable. They have no idea.
Hey, if my mommy was paying for my insurance, I'd be praising it too, I guess.
Exactly.
But hey,
you know,
he's a law candidate. He's a JD candidate, a juris. Yeah, he's going to go to law school.
And probably can't wait to get elected to something to screw that up too.
Yeah, I mean, give me a break. Give me a break. All right, appreciate the call, Chris. Take care. Oh my goodness, you're on the air.
Hello. So I heard your discussion about healthcare earlier. So are you in favor of universal healthcare or not?
No.
Why is that?
Because when you have what you're talking about is socialism, okay? This is what you don't understand because you're young and you don't pay taxes, okay?
Yeah, I do. But
really, how much did you pay in taxes this year? Tax day just passed.
Well, no, I got a refund.
You got a refund, so you don't pay taxes. I had to send a check in. I didn't get a refund. I had to send them a check, a big check too. Okay. When you're talking about universal health care, what you're talking about is people like you that suck off the government, right? They get that don't pay taxes.
Yeah.
That get refunds. You want your life paid for by me through my taxes. Like if I didn't have to pay so much taxes for bums like you and all these college kids that don't want to pay their student loans and everything, you know, I would have taken that tax money and maybe bought a condo or a new car or added a room onto my house. But I have to pay for all of you bums that don't want to pay your student loans back.
Okay, I'm not in college, so you're not even talking about me.
Well, your generation. You're a bunch of loafers and freeloaders.
Well, your generation got to buy houses for like $6,000.
$6,000? No way. I didn't get to buy a house. How old do you think I am? $6,000? What do you think? I bought my house in 1930? Listen, I live in the house that I bought over 25 years ago, okay? And I paid, this house that I live in now cost me six figures. Now, it's more than doubled in price in the last 25 years, and it's worth a lot of money now, but only if I sell it. And then I got to buy a new house, so you know what I mean? So no, I didn't. I wish I would have bought a house for $6,000, but I'm not over 100 years old. I didn't buy a house in the 1930s. $6,000.
Yeah, exactly. And
$6,000. Who bought a house for $6,000?
You're just a moocher off them.
What?
Every generation has people like you.
What's that? Winners?
After them, you know, they're just a bunch of bums. But I don't live in the same fucking world you do.
Oh, there we go. Dump button again, Mike. Twice today. Maybe we should get like a calendar, and every time we have to use, you know, these millennials and Gen Zs are big on the F word. If you're on hold, stand by. We have to wait for the delay to re-engage. Oh, if you're just tuning in, my name's Brian. This is the longest running radio show in the state of Florida, the Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. But this affords me the opportunity to talk about the great Mike Lindell and MyPillow. You know, with our promo code Kane at checkout, you can save as much as 80% off on top MyPillow products, the towels, the slippers, the different pillows, the American flag pillow, the sheets. There's just incredible deals going on right now at MyPillow.com. The mega sale's going on. You can get the MyPillow towels, excuse me, for just $39.98. That's $30 off. That's amazing. The Giza sheets, just $40. You can save $40 on the Giza sheets. I have the Giza and the Percale, however you pronounce them, sheets. Spectacular. The MyPillow slippers, I have two pairs of these, just $59.98 right now, which is $90 off with our promo code Kane at checkout. And you can use our promo code on all the specials at MyPillow.com, Kane. You can also order by phone. Just call toll-free 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code Kane, Kane. All right. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll take our break for the top of the hour. The delay is re-engaged, but we got to take our top of the hour break. My name's Brian Craig. You're listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show. Florida's longest running radio show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. We'll take our break and be right back. Bought a house for $6,000. I wish if they were selling for $6,000, I would have bought like 20 of them. All right, guys, if you're new, make sure that you subscribe. Oh, boy. Okay, we'll be back in 1 minute. And before we go back to the calls, there are 2 openings on the board. I'm going to go over this story. The update on Christi Noem's purse snatching incident, which is total BS. Welcome back, everyone. Hour number 2 has begun. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. Isn't that amazing? It certainly is. All right, now I got an update on the Christi Noem purse snatching. If you're on hold, hang in there. There's 2 openings on the board, but before we go back to the phones, I want to bring this story up. This story... Now, yesterday we talked about it the whole show, and I told you I believe it was a deep state op to try to get a hold of Christi Noem's cell phone. They've been pushing this slander that there is an affair going on between Christi Noem and Corey Lewandowski. She's a married woman. It's not true, but they believe it. So they thought if they got a hold of her phone, they could find some either blackmail material or something to slander her with in the news and the text messages. Listen to this. This is in the Daily Mail. The thief who stole Christi Noem's Gucci purse, which is that big old bag I was telling you about, containing thousands of dollars, had a shockingly simplistic method to complete the heist. While dining with her family at the Capitol Burger in Washington, D.C. on Sunday evening, a thief made off with Noem's bag full of personal items as well as cash. Congress has begun an investigation into the swindle. Law enforcement sources told CNN that video surveillance footage shows a surprisingly simple steal. The criminal sat down at an empty table next to Christi Noem and her family at the Capitol Burger wearing only dark clothing. And remember, he said he had a surgical mask on too. He then uses his left foot to drag and slide the bag into his possession and away from Christi Noem. The suspect then takes a look around the restaurant and then picks up the bag and they say picks up the big. They see these people instead of bag, they wrote big, but he picks up the bag and puts it under his jacket as he bolts. Christi Noem had no idea anything had even happened. Now, this is not what Never Trumper Steve said yesterday. He said the guy was having dinner next to him, and now we find out something a little different. So this is what they expect us to believe, okay? Christi, and if you're on hold, hang in there. I'll go to the phones in a moment. Christi Noem, who is under massive Secret Service protection, not just because she's a cabinet secretary, but she's taken on these terrorist organizations, even leading raids against the terrorist organization Trinidad de Agua, the terrorist organization MS-13, and, of course, involved in the deportations. So she has a massive Secret Service detail, and she's sitting there with her family. A guy all by himself, wearing black, nothing but black clothing and a surgical mask, sits down at an empty table. No one else is there. He has no food, and he's able to reach over with his foot and take her big old Gucci purse and then walk out with it. I don't buy it. The whole thing stinks. I still stand by what I said yesterday. Deep state op in an attempt to get a hold of her phone. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, I'm James. I'm from Independence, Missouri.
All right. What's up, James?
Well, I didn't know, this is a little off topic, but do we have any recourse for the Supreme Court
No.
using Gillette Trump?
No.
We don't have any recourse?
No, Trump can ignore them.
I thought you might know.
No, Trump could ignore them.
Just ignore them.
They could be impeached, and there's an impeachment process like with presidents, but not really. The best recourse is just to ignore them. They have no authority over the president in this matter.
I agree.
All right, appreciate the call. Yeah, I mean that's it. I mean that's the way it is. Okay, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Conservative Doug.
Hey, Doug.
You know, I've been listening, and I said, man, it seems like there's no shortage of people who are uninformed and think they're educated. You know, it's amazing to me how people who think they're smart and go to college have no idea what the hell they're talking about. Yes. Unbelievable. You know, I just talked to somebody the other day. I said, how do you feel your party's doing wanting to bring MS-13 back? Oh, I'm sick of it. It's really turning me off. I said, well, why don't you come over to leave the party and become a Republican? Oh, no. Then he goes in and all the talking points that they have. I said, man, don't you understand? Just like MS-13, you're being lied to by fake news. You got to stop listening to fake news.
I want you to think about this, okay? These Democrats that went to El Salvador yesterday, they're trying to bring a man who beat his wife multiple times and put him back into the home with the woman he used to beat bloody and give black eyes to. Who would do such a thing? That's crazy.
This is just a dumb political stunt they're trying to pull to make everybody think, oh, due process, President Trump is trying to be a dictator. You know, ridiculous. I mean, you had two judges that want to deport him. He's MS-13. he's in the country that he came from, and they're not letting him out, and they still want to just do this nonsense, and they're getting too much airtime. You know, everybody's is turned off.
You know what's going on with these Democrats? Like this detail that went down there yesterday with Presley. You know, she's the bald woman in the squad who's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, it's what's going on with these Democrats with this wife beater MS-13 terrorist Garcia. It's kind of like the ice bucket challenge a few years ago. All the Democrats have to do it. All the Democrats have to make some effort to meet with Garcia and defend this wife-beater terrorist member. You know, it's just something you got to do as a Democrat. It's very bizarre.
Yeah, and I don't know who's telling him this, but like I said, this guy's a Democrat who's turned off to it. I would think that a lot of Democrats are probably turned off. Who wants MS-13 to come back to this country?
Democrats. Democrats.
Why? I mean, it's a turnoff. So they're destroying their party that's already destroyed. But yet, the Democrats are Ocasio-Cortez, she's getting these crowds now. Well, who the heck would want it? I said, how did she even get elected? But there she is.
Yeah.
Too many
All right,
people
appreciate the call, Doug. Take care. Appreciate the call. All right, let's go. You're on the air.
Hey, it's Tony here. I really wonder, do you think, I long-time listener, first-time caller.
Oh, yes.
Why in the world have we not looked into, as Trump promised, and I love the guy to death,
I can tell.
Why do we not look into the abusive, wasteful spending and fraudulent investments into, like, Pelosi?
Well, because what Pelosi has done, while it should be illegal, is not. Congress makes the laws, right? And what Congress often does is pass laws that allow them to do lawless things. What you're talking about is insider trading. So what Nancy Pelosi does, okay, Obama's president, she becomes speaker, and they push all this green garbage. She buys stock at like 5 cents. She buys stock for like 5 cents a share in green light bulbs. Green light bulbs are ones that don't illuminate the room. And then then she passes legislation mandating these green light bulbs be bought from the company that she bought the stocks from for 5 cents a share. That's sadly legal. It's legal. It's not illegal. It's legal. Sadly, crazily, it's legal.
Yeah, sadly.
But yeah, so that's why.
Well, hey man, long-time listener, first-time caller, love the show.
Well, I'm gonna tell you something. Whenever you call a show like this is the longest-running radio show. All right. Whenever you call a show and say long-time listener, first-time caller, that's like the worst thing you can say. That's like the kiss of death. Nobody wants to hear that.
Well,
long-time listener, first-time caller. Okay, I appreciate it. How long you been listening?
About 4 months now.
Oh, that's not long. This show's been on 48 years, man. That's you're a newbie.
Well, that's irrelevant. But you know, well, my sense of it is, you know, first-time caller.
Okay, first-time caller's good. Hey, listen, welcome. Good call. Appreciate it. Take care. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Peter from Rhode Island. Why does Steve keep you around? You're so rude and mean-spirited.
Can you turn down the device you're listening to me on so I can hear your insults better? Can you turn down I know you want to hear yourself on the show. Can you turn down the volume in the background so I can hear your insults better?
Up yours, pal. Up yours, pal.
Up yours? What? Up yours with a rubber hose? I mean, what are you, a sweat hog? What kind of insult is that? Oh my goodness. All right. What a day. Oh, you know, I want to tell you guys, we just got back a couple weeks ago from our 6th MAGA cruise. Our next one is early next year. I don't remember the dates. Call Ian at Cruise and Travel Depot, he'll tell you. We're going to Antigua and some other great locations. And I was just talking to Ian yesterday. We're already planning the next cruise. Our next cruise, which is in 2026, is priced better than you will believe. As you'll find out when you call Ian at Cruise and Travel Depot. We have 2019 prices on our 2026 cruise. These are pre-pandemic prices on our 2026 cruise. And Ian at Cruise and Travel Depot was able to negotiate this incredible rate from Celebrity Cruise Lines, and you're all invited. And I do mean that. It's 2019 rates on our 2026 cruise. And if you go to my YouTube channel, I put up a video Sunday night showing what a great time we have on our most recent cruise. So go and check that out and join us. You're all invited. You're going to have a great time. It's an incredible price. And I want to tell you guys, because some people say, well, why don't you just tell us the price? The price varies on so many things. The type of cabin you get, and there's a whole bunch of different cabin categories, where your cabin is, if you choose different options and perks. The price, fluctuates based on so many factors. There's not a set price. There's a lot of factors. You call Ian at Cruise and Travel Depot, and he'll quote you the price right over the phone. And it is 2019 pricing. Here's his number. It is, hold on. I have his cell phone number, which I call him all the time, memorized. But I don't want to give his cell phone number out on the air, so I got to give the office number, which I don't have memorized. Give Ian at Cruise and Travel Depot a call, 561-244-5779. 561-244-5779. That's 561-244-5779. And join us on our next MAGA cruise. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. We'll be right back. If you're on hold, hang in there. We will be back shortly. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. There's a lot of things I want to cover here. If you're on hold, hang in there. stand by. And if you'd like to call in about anything you've heard on the program today, you're certainly welcome. The number's toll free, no matter where you are listening, 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. Coming up in a few minutes, I have a story that from Tucker Carlson. He interviewed the president of El Salvador, who's brilliant, the president of El Salvador. I love that guy. He talks about how Bill Clinton is responsible for the rise of MS-13 and gives us some details about MS-13 that I did not know about, and I don't think most people out there did. They're a satanic organization. He breaks it down. I'm going to share it with you coming up. But I want to share something else with you right now, which is very disturbing. Did you guys catch what Greg Kelly found out about the Trump assassination attempt in Butler? Now, the video with Greg Kelly sharing what I'm about to showing what I'm about to share with you is on my X, my Twitter, Brian Craig Show on X. And if you go to my X account, you'll see it there. Not only will you see that, you'll get all my show prep. Anything I talk about, I post to X. Any article I read, I post to X. And during the show for my show prep, you remember Rush had a stack of stuff? I don't print anything out. I used to, but I just post it to X and I go through my X feed while we're on the air. But Greg Kelly uncovered something that no one has picked up on, and it's disturbing. And, you know, the reason is our eyes are distracted. You know, when I was a kid, I was all into magicians. David Copperfield, Doug Henning. Anybody remember Doug Henning? Poor Doug Henning. I always liked Doug Henning. I like David Copperfield too. And, you know, magicians, they have beautiful assistants that are oftentimes barely dressed. And the purpose of that is so that your eyes are focused on the hot assistant who's almost naked, as opposed to the magician, so you don't see what he's doing all the time. And that happened in Butler, according to this video that Greg Kelly has shown. Now, I've not had the chance to go back and verify this yet, but Greg Kelly's gone public with it. And for those of you that don't know, Greg Kelly is amazing. He's on Newsmax. He's one of the best I've ever seen on television. I love Greg Kelly. I've been watching him ever since I discovered him on Newsmax. His father used to be the police commissioner. He's very good. And he wouldn't go public with something that he's not verified. But in Butler, when the never-Trumper with the Ukrainian connection, like the other two Trump assassins, after he shot Trump and they rushed him to his Secret Service SUV, we had those idiot, I don't know if they were Secret Service or on loan from Homeland Security, but remember the lady Secret Service agent that couldn't find the holster for her weapon, the one that's overweight? When you see that, you're watching her, because what she's doing so incompetent. Your eyes, she's the opposite of the beautiful magician's assistant, but she's so stupid and incompetent, you're just watching her try to find her holster. What Greg Kelly found was this. And not only did he post this video, he shows the video with him on camera. This is on my X, Brian Craig Show. Go check it out, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. There's an officer, we don't know what agency he's with. We don't know if he's local police, Secret Service, FBI, Homeland Security. He's in front of the president's SUV. He's wearing military gear. He's wearing camo and military gear, and he has a big old, a military-looking rifle. I don't know what type of rifle it is, but it's big. And when they put the president of the United States, well, he wasn't president at the time, he's president now, but when they put President Trump in the SUV after he was shot by the never-Trumper with Ukrainian connections in Butler, this guy in the military outfit with the rifle moves directly in front of the SUV and aims his rifle to the windshield of the president's SUV. And Greg Kelly just discovered this. No one's noticed it before. It's crazy. And I don't know what Dan Bongino and Kash Patel are doing today, but whatever it is, they need to drop it. And they need to go and pick that guy up. They need to identify him, pick him up immediately, right wherever he is, and bring him in for interrogation. It is so scary and disturbing. It really is freaky to watch. All right, let's go back to the... And if any of you have seen the video already, I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. Also, as I said, I reposted it on my ex, Brian Craig Show. You guys can watch it now and then call me. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, hi. Good morning, Brian. I hope you can hear me.
I can hear you fine.
Perfect. It's Danielle from Michigan.
Hey, Danielle.
I'm at my desk at work. That's why.
Oh, you're whispering.
Listen, I wanted to just say real quick, I'm extremely disturbed by watching that video that Kelly put out.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, I don't know who's going to be on this. I don't know who's going to. I'm disturbed by seeing what I saw. That's all I wanted to say.
Well, I'll tell you this. Greg Kelly is personal friends with the president. He can get the president on the phone. If he can, his dad can. If he can't, Chris Ruddy at Newsmax can. I'll let you go because you're at work. And I don't want you to get in trouble. But if you've not seen this video, you need to see it. It's on my ex, Brian Craig Show. And I'm not doing this to plug my Twitter, my ex. But I do want to hear your comments on this video. I mean, it's scary is what it is. I've got goosebumps just talking about it. I really do. I'm not figuratively. I got goosebumps right then because I've seen the video and I'm visualizing it. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
The Law, Lake Worth.
Hey, Lake Worth. What's up?
Hey, I just want to know why they didn't pick me to be on the Bongino show.
Well, because you have no talent or following, and you're not commercially viable. Since you asked.
Hey, you got two good things about you.
Well, you think that was supposed to hurt me? You thought you got me on something? No, they should. No, I'm telling you. They should have replaced Bongino with me on that national radio show. No doubt about it. We would have done the show live from our True Oldies studios, which are state-of-the-art studios in Palm Beach Gardens, and it would have been the hottest show on radio since Rush got syndicated.
They would have been good.
Well, you guys will just have to put up with the goodness of this program with me.
Oh, thank God. And I'll tell you what, though, you are good at two things.
Oh, here we go.
Ads and entertainment.
Well, that's what it's all about. I don't sell the ads. We have salespeople at the radio station that do that. But to be commercially viable and endorse products and businesses, that's what keeps shows like this on the air. And you've got to be entertaining. If I was boring like Joyce Kaufman, we'd have no listeners, and we wouldn't be commercially viable. We wouldn't be on the air. All right, appreciate that. And speaking of that, let's talk about Dr. Philip Appleton and his laser away pain treatment. Anytime I've been talking about, it wasn't just Gary on the cruise that was rid of his arthritis. There were other listeners on our cruise that have been relieved of their pain by Dr. Appleton too. And anytime Steve and I do an appearance, like we had our inauguration party at Wings Plus for President Trump's second inauguration, anytime we do an appearance, I meet listeners and they always come up to me. It's the same way. And I know before they talk what they're going to do because they have their hand on part of their body. Sometimes it's their shoulder, sometimes it's their hip, sometimes it's their back, sometimes they walk up to me with their hand on their knee. And they tell me, I used to hurt right here. And then I went to see Dr. Appleton and his laser away pain treatment. Now my shoulder doesn't hurt, my knee doesn't hurt, my hip doesn't hurt, whatever body part, it's awesome. It really is. Because, Dr. Appleton's rid me of pain 7 times. And when I meet people in this audience that are living without pain because they heard me tell them about Dr. Appleton and his laser away pain treatment, it just makes me feel good that I was able to share Dr. Appleton and his great laser away pain treatment with you. It works. There's no shots, no injections, no downtime, no drugs, no surgery. It's 100% painless. In fact, you don't even feel it while it's happening. Dr. Appleton performs all the laser treatments himself, not an assistant, and appointments are not necessary. Walk-ins are welcome, even on Saturdays. Give Dr. Appleton a call and say bye-bye to your pain, too. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. That's 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonChiro.com. We'll be right back. Yeah, if you go, guys, I can't show that video. It's so disturbing. But if you go to my X, you can see it, and you should. It's really crazy. Just answering some DMs. Welcome. If you're new, make sure that you subscribe, all right? Okay, I'm going to share that too. If you're on hold, hang in there. We'll be back in seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. I hope some of you will share your thoughts on that video that I was talking about in the last segment that Greg Kelly uncovered. It is the Zapruder film times a million. Okay? It really is. It's a defining historical video. And, you know, I may be wrong about this, because I wasn't alive when Kennedy was killed. But wasn't it the Warren Commission that found the Zapruder film? Was the Zapruder film, at what point after the Kennedy assassination was the Zapruder film, when did it become known to the world? It just popped in my mind that the Zapruder film came out during the Warren Commission hearings. I could be wrong about that, but if anybody has any info, let me know. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air.
This is Ted.
Yeah, Ted.
Hey, Brian, I was just giving you a call. I'm Lake Worth. I seen that clip about 3 days ago, and it's almost like he's getting real-time radio call telling him to stand down or something. The guy that was pointing the gun through.
Well, why was he pointing the rifle into the windshield of President Trump's SUV after he was shot?
I know that was a tripped out. Thanks for bringing that out, because I seen that about 3 days ago and that tripped me out.
Well, what I wonder is if they could even find that guy. Do you understand what I mean? Is he somebody they could even find?
Yeah, that guy. Yeah, he's got to have. Yeah, they got to know who he is.
Really? Not if he's part of some op. When you watch, you've seen the video. There's no reason for him to be pointing his high-powered military rifle to the windshield of President Trump's vehicle. None. There's no reason for that. There's something up with that guy.
Yeah, that needs to be investigated. Thanks, Brian, for your tough work, man. You're really up against some hard people, man.
Weirdos, freaks and weirdos. Appreciate it. Thanks so much. That's who we're up against. Weirdos. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. This is Matt from Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I heard you have a conversation with someone about defending Garcia, about wanting to defend, as you describe him, a wife beater and
No, I didn't describe him as a wife beater. His wife described him as a wife beater in front of a judge in a courtroom.
Right. And, we all know women never lie.
When a woman goes in front of a judge, bloody, bruised with black eyes, and says, "My husband beat me up," that's evidence.
I mean, Brian, that's a little.
Let me ask you: are you punking me? Are you serious? Are you just punking me? Are you trolling me?
Hang on, I'm going somewhere with this. So you said, he's a wife beater. He's a gang member.
Yes.
So
correct.
The point I'm trying to make is that it's not about defending him. Whether he is or not.
Due process. Watch due process.
Well. I think he's not. It doesn't matter what I think. What this is about due process and how.
Okay, slow down. Slow down. He went before an immigration judge. An immigration judge said he was MS-13 based on the evidence presented to the court. Deport him. Garcia appealed it to a federal appeals judge. The appellate judge ruled that the first ruling was correct. He's MS-13, deport him. So 2 federal judges ruled he was MS-13 and that they ordered him deported. That's due process. He had a judge and an appeal.
From what I understand, he had TPS. He had temporary protective status.
No. He was ordered TPS. What is that, a disease? Listen. From what you understand, you're like many liberal callers. You're just not informed. If you let me give you an example. Serial killers. All right, a serial killer. They go on trial. They're found guilty by a jury and sentenced to death by a judge. Now I don't know if this is true in every state, but where I'm at in the state of Florida, an automatic appeal is triggered, okay? So you're Ted Bundy, you're put on trial for murdering all these girls, the judge sentences you to death, you go to the appeals court, and the appeals court either upholds that or not. And Ted Bundy got electrocuted in the Florida electric chair when I was in high school. So what I'm telling you, the reason I'm sharing that with you is that Garcia was in front of as many judges as the most notorious serial killers that have been executed in our nation's history. That's your due process. You get a sentence by a judge, you appeal it. The appeals judge either throws out the judgment of the lower court or upholds it. His appellate judge upheld the decision and ordered him deported. That's due process.
From what I understand, the judges said the evidence was that it was just inconclusive or something.
No, what your understanding is wrong. Your understanding is incorrect. Your understanding is incorrect. I've given you the true information.
What is the evidence that he's a gang member?
Okay, Pam Bondi went through some of this. He was arrested. There's a lot of evidence, okay? All of which you're aware of and I'm pretending not to know. But I'm going to go through it anyway for the 10,000th time in the last 2 weeks on this program. He was arrested in a parking lot associating with other MS-13 members. He was a Home Depot park. See, you know the evidence. Okay, you just are hoping I don't. Okay, you're just hoping I don't, so you can declare victory.
No.
Okay, he was found. He was arrested in this parking lot with MS-13 members. He was wearing MS-13 gang attire, not just the Mets outfit, but there was certain symbolism on it that's MS-13. The police had a confidential MS-13 informant that said that he's MS-13 and even gave his MS-13 rank. His fingers on one of his hands has MS-13 tattoos on it, which is a confession. There's other evidence too, but that's the primary evidence. It does. On his fingers, MS-13. Yes, it does. In fact, the president showed the attorney general. Who would get an MS-13 tattoos on their fingers? Who would do that?
It's not an MS-13.
It is.
It's, you can read into.
I'm not reading into it. This is the evidence. This is the evidence that was entered into the courts. Okay. That's a confession.
It was the fact that he was at a Home Depot with.
Well, no, hold on. But I want to ask you this. You asked me what the evidence was. You know all the evidence. So why did you play stupid like you don't know the evidence? And now you do and you want to discount it. The evidence I presented to you was good enough for 2 federal judges. I'm sorry it's not good enough for you, but that's it. That's due process. Due process is you get a court sentencing and an appeal. You got both. When does due process end in your mind?
The fact that like I said, the evidence was deemed it was
oh my goodness,
not enough.
No, it was enough for 2 federal judges, including the appeals judge. So when you go to court, you get a sentence and a ruling, you appeal that decision, which is your constitutional right. The appellate judge upheld the deportation. At what point in your mind does due process finally complete?
The evidence was.
We're not talking about the evidence. No. We're not talking about the evidence. You said due process. He got a federal judge say deport him, and the appellate judge said deport him. That's due process, right?
No, and there's a reason why.
No, when okay. So what? So no. So when is the next? What's the next step in due process?
It's perhaps going against the ruling, which was not to send him to El Salvador.
There was a ruling. There was a ruling in 2019 not to send him to El Salvador because of a particular gang. Tom Homan, he's the border czar. He said that gang no longer exists. And he's not just in El Salvador. He's in a maximum security prison where he's safe. Hey, listen, I got to run for a break. Thank you for the call. I mean, my goodness. I want to talk about coastal weight loss secret. Oh, man. I revealed on Monday how much weight I lost. I lost 35 pounds thanks to coastal weight loss secret. 35 pounds. That's right. No exercise. I'm not taking any medications like Ozempic or anything. And I'm eating foods I would normally eat. Wings Plus, Chipotle, stuff like that. Right? Yeah. And I'm not hungry. Ever. It's absolutely amazing. If you want to lose 20 pounds, 40 pounds, 50 pounds, 150 pounds, or even more, Coastal Weight Loss Secret can help. It works. And those of you that were on the cruise, you saw me. I ate what you were eating, even desserts, okay? I know, it's amazing, isn't it? Give them a call, and I'm going to give you the number. When you call Coastal Weight Loss Secret, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the True Oldies channel. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. That's 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlossecret.com. Call us on hold standby. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian Craig. Back after this. All right. We'll be back in seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. I'm going to go back to our phones. There's only one opening on the board. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello, this is Cheryl in Iowa.
Okay, go ahead.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead, Cheryl.
Oh, hi. Yes, hi. What, hello?
Yeah.
Didn't I hear that there were 17 judges involved in that case?
Senator Kennedy said that on Meet the Press over the weekend. I don't know what other than him saying that on Meet the Press, I haven't seen that.
Oh,
but we know for a fact he had a federal immigration judge and a federal immigration appeals judge both say deport him.
Yeah.
That I know for a
Yeah.
fact.
Well,
I mean, that's enough due process.
He needs to stay where he is. Anyway, I wanted to let your listeners know that Mike Lindell is going to have a telethon of sorts up in his Chaska.
I'll call him today and find out about that. Okay. Okay. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
It's Jolene from Kansas.
All right, Kansas. What's on your mind?
Yes, I was going to call about the Butler shooting.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching it, and when I've seen that military guy point the gun at Trump before he even got in the SUV.
I don't know. I haven't seen that, but I saw this new video that Greg Kelly showed, and it's very disturbing. That guy should be whatever Dan Bongino and Kash Patel are doing right now. They need to drop it. They need to find out who that guy is and bring him in for questioning today.
Yeah, because when I seen it, I thought he was going to shoot him right there. I thought, oh my God.
I mean, why would he do that? Why would he be pointing the rifle there? I mean, there's no reason for that. It's crazy. Unless he was involved. Unless he's involved.
also heard there was 2 shooters that day. So I don't.
Well, we don't know about a second shooter. Okay, I mean, when you hear, that means somebody just said something. You know, I like to stick with the facts that we know. All right, take care. Appreciate the call. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yo, it's Sean, West Lake Worth. How you doing today, Brian?
All right, what's up, Sean in Lake Worth?
Hey, so due process, I love how you knew what the guy was going to say, but due process is becoming the new fine people hoax. This guy has met with 17 judges. Yes, 17. I didn't believe it. I heard it on Fox News. So the fact that he has met with 17 judges proves that he has had his due process extended to him. But they're going to continue to repeat it. You got to just keep knocking it out of the ballpark every time. So I'll listen off air. Thanks for doing what you do, brother.
All right, take care. All right, we're not really brothers. He means brothers, MAGA brothers. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning. This is Richie.
Hey, Richie.
I want to, for all these, first of all, I think you're wrong. In the beginning of your show, you opened up with how they don't think President Trump is a legitimate president. They don't think we're legitimate voters.
Or
they
people.
disregard us.
Because we're white. White people have been voting long enough.
Right, and we are a cult.
Yep.
You know, we follow blindly. We don't know nothing. We're uneducated. We're not college degrees. We're not going to law school and all that other garbage. I'm going to talk about due process here. What due process was it with Biden and Mayorkas when he let 20 million people through this country on a technicality when they were being told by organizations, this is what you say to get into the country. They're here for getting work. They're not here because they're being politically persecuted.
Yeah.
So this is all garbage. This is total garbage. You know what? They come in here illegally. Goodbye the next day. They don't need due process. They need to be shipped out like they were put in. Who the hell? I mean, what kind of the same people's kind of rich. They let all these people in here. The same people are talking about due process when there was absolutely no due process. And if we do what they want, to send due process for every one of these people, it'll take 200 to 400 years.
Well, that's what President Trump said the other day. Well, you know, if you listen to these idiots that have been calling me this morning about it, they're just not informed. They have CNN, MSNBC, Huffington Post talking points. Appreciate the call, Richie. Take care. They just don't know what's going on. Some of them are just liars. They say, what's the evidence? And you notice, anytime someone asks me what the evidence is, and I share it with them, they know it. And they're just hoping I don't. And they can get some victory or something in the debate over it. I mean, I'm learning more about Garcia every day because they keep it in the news. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Dean from Colorado.
Colorado. What's up?
Hey, you know that Oklahoma guy, he's out of his mind, but, due process stops when your visa, you don't have a visa to be here.
That's true.
So that's it.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have any rights to be here with a visa. He's automatically should be deported. There's nothing to talk about.
It's done. Especially when you're a member of a terrorist organization. MS-13.
Exactly, but that's irrelevant. When you broke the law, you came here, you don't have a visa, you get deported. That's just open and shut. It doesn't matter if he's a gang member or not, in my opinion. He should be out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's on the cake that he is a gang member. Get him out of here.
That's right.
One other thing I want to talk to you about is the shooter or the guy with the gun at the Trump rally.
Yeah.
Was he a good guy or a bad guy?
We don't know anything about him. Greg Kelly found this video that no one's noticed.
How did the Secret Service just let this clown do that? I mean,
they're incompetent. They're incompetent. Look what happened to Christi Noem the other day. The Secret Service are not the elite that we grew up thinking they were. They're incompetent.
They should have dropped this guy like a sack of potatoes right there in front of the Suburban.
That guy, I would not be surprised if they are unable to identify him. I would not.
They'll never find him.
Yeah.
He's the guy that put the pipe bombs in.
It could be the same guy. That guy with the rifle might be the pipe bomber and the purse snatcher. It might be.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be
surprised.
surprised.
Never going to find the guy. He's gone.
Like I give an example. This purse snatcher. Appreciate the call. This purse snatcher. Okay. At the top of the hour, I gave the update on him, which makes no sense. Maybe I'll do it again in the next hour. If you're on hold, hang in there. This purse snatcher should be number one on the FBI's most wanted list. They can't get him? Come on. His fingerprints are all over the place. Oh, hit the wrong line. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Scott.
Hey, Scott.
Yeah. I looked at your film. Just a couple of points. First of all, let me get this out. This is from other conversation we had. You also have to remember they went after James O'Keefe's phone. They want those phones.
That's right.
And anyhow, I looked at that video once again. I never saw that before, but I looked. It looks like that. I don't know under what branch that
we don't know.
officer is in.
We don't know.
Yeah, but that looks like a SIG. I think it's an XM7. It has a 6.8 round. They already had Trump in the vehicle, which is armor plated. That 6.8. Boy, I can't remember the whole designation of the round. Is it going to go through that SUV?
But aiming it there. But him aiming it there looked like a reflexive move. It was very strange. No, it's very strange. And I'm telling you, Greg Kelly can get the president on the phone. And if Greg Kelly's gone public with it, the president knows. If he didn't know already. And I'm telling you, it's 50-50 whether they're able to identify and locate that guy. He could be he could be a deep state guy, or he could be, a local cop, Secret Service. We don't know.
Yeah, much respect to Greg Kelly. I got it. But the thing we have to keep in mind is he ought to know that the people in Ukraine or the forces in Ukraine really got it in for them. They're a mafia.
There are 3 Trump assassins. All 3 of them have a Ukrainian connection. Come on.
And it's funny, we haven't heard much from that from the Florida shooter. He just kind of disappeared. And the Pennsylvania shooter, they proved that I'm going to say it. I got censored by one outfit.
All right, well, if you got censored, I don't know what you're going to say, so there might have been a good reason. I don't need to hear it here. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Marcus. I'm from North Carolina, specifically like the Charlotte
Okay.
metro area.
Uh-huh. What's on your mind?
Yeah, so, so about 2 years ago, I got shot in the spine and paralyzed. That's not the issue.
Sorry to hear that.
While I was recovering in the hospital, I got raided by the fucking FBI.
Oh, there you go. All right, dump button again. Mike, oh my goodness. If you're on hold, hang in there. We got to wait for the delay to re-engage. What is it with you guys and the F word? You cannot use the F word on the radio. Is this news to people? Oh my goodness. But you know what? It gives me an opportunity to talk about those of you suffering with neuropathy. Oh my goodness. Yeah. I mean, neuropathy is god-awful. It's living torture. Steve had every neuropathy symptom there is. Numbness, pain, burning, tingling in the hands and feet, muscle weakness, loss of balance, falling down, muscle twitching, the feeling of pins and needles in your hands and feet, no feeling at all. It really makes life unbearable, neuropathy. It really, truly does. Your doctors, your neurologists will tell you there's no treatment for neuropathy. That's what they told Steve Kane. But there is at Lighthouse Medical in Pompano. Not only do they have a treatment for neuropathy, they have a treatment that works, rid Steve of all his neuropathy symptoms, and a treatment that lasts, because Steve had his neuropathy treatment over 2.5 years ago, and his symptoms have not returned. They can help you no matter where you're located in the United States. I'm going to give you their number. When you call, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show, so you could take advantage of their no-charge consultation. 754-222-6642. 754-222-6642. That's 754-222-6642. And online, lighthousemedicalcenter.com. lighthousemedicalcenter.com. Stop living with your neuropathy. You don't have to. Give them a call. All right. 2 hours down, 1 to go. Callers on hold, stand by. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. Our number is toll free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you're listening. Call us on hold, stand by. Back with Steve Kane and your calls after this break.
Okay, good morning.
All right. Hey.
Good morning.
Hey.
Are you there?
All right. Hang in there. We'll be back shortly. Hold on. We'll be back. "90 seconds. We'll be live. Have you been listening?
I've been listening. It sounds like a bad LSD trip.
Yeah, I thought it was just me.
I'm gonna it's not just you, but I'm gonna do a capsulized version.
Okay. If you're on hold, hang in there. Yeah, I know some strange callers today.
Yes.
But this new thing with Greg Kelly, I want to recap. This new video Greg Kelly uncovered from Butler is insane. It's the big story of the day.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to try to figure out what the hell is going on.
Well, that's what Greg Kelly's trying to figure out. Okay, hold on. Stand by.
Okay. You good, sir?
All right, hold on. Everybody can hear you guys.
Do I have what?
You're on speaker. Everybody can hear you on YouTube. Okay, 30 seconds.
Okay. Lee, when I get back from work, okay?
Welcome back, everyone. Callers on hold, stand by. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Steve with us. Yeah, crazy. Greg Kelly uncovered just the biggest story in the last.
When you say you uncovered, what do you mean? I want to.
Okay, let me walk you through this. Let me walk you through the whole thing. It'll take a few minutes, but I want to walk you through it. But I don't know if you remember, because, the Kennedy assassination was before my life, okay? But, because I was born in 71. So, the Zapruder film, this was just a memory I have that may be wrong. But the Zapruder film was not known to the world, I don't think, until the Warren Commission. It wasn't something that was immediately known, which showed us the...
It was not immediately available.
No, and I believe it was not until the Warren Commission, which was years later. So when what Greg Kelly has uncovered is the equivalent of the Zapruder film, except it's in high definition. Okay, and let me explain this to you, because and for those that are just tuning in, this is for you guys more than Steve, but I want to explain this to you. Greg Kelly unveiled it with the Butler assassination attempt of President Trump, what I consider to be
Butler is, which one is the Butler?
Butler is the one where the Never Trumper shot Trump in the ear. Okay.
Okay, I got you.
That's the one where he actually got shot. The fight. The example I use with this, why no one has noticed this before, it's like a magician has beautiful, sexy, almost naked assistants oftentimes. The purpose of that is so that you're watching her and not watching what he's doing. It's a distraction, so you're not watching what he's doing. There's a distraction in the Butler video. The distraction's not on purpose, okay? But there's
what is the video of?
I'm explaining it to you. I'm walking you through it. Just okay. When the Never Trumper with Ukrainian connections shot President Trump in Butler, they rush him to the SUV, and there's that overweight Secret Service agent lady that can't find her holster. Remember, she has her gun, and she's trying to find her holster. And she can't find her holster. Remember that video?
I don't.
Everybody else does. Everybody else does. The video, what Greg Kelly uncovered is in that video. But this overweight lady Secret Service agent that can't find her holster is distracting to the eye. It's so scary and incompetent. You're watching them put President Trump in the SUV, and you're watching this idiot who can't find her holster. What Greg Kelly found, and he shared this video. I posted this video on my X, on my Twitter, Brian Craig Show, guys. So you can go there and watch this video. Greg Kelly shows the video. In front of the SUV, there's a guy who has not been identified. He's with some law enforcement agency. We don't know if it's local police.
Inside or outside?
No, he's in front of the SUV. He's outside in front of the SUV. Okay. He's with an agency. We don't know if it's local police, Secret Service, FBI. He's wearing military fatigues and military clothing, and he has a very big rifle. It looks like a military rifle, okay? When President Trump is put into the SUV, he moves. He stands in front of the president's SUV and points his rifle directly at the windshield and aims at the windshield of the SUV.
Which seat? Driver's
We don't know. It looked like it's hard to tell because of the angle, but it looked like the passenger side, which is where the president was. So this is the new video. Who is this man, and why is he aiming his high-powered military rifle at the president after he was shot in Butler?
The question might be, after that, the question would be, and if he had ill intentions, why didn't you shoot?
Well, he maybe he realized that it's bulletproof. And there's a couple layers. There's the windshield, and that's bulletproof, and then there's another bulletproof barrier between where the drivers are and the passenger section. So I don't know. We don't know. But this is if you saw the video, Steve, you would be physically ill. It's that disturbing.
No one's spotted this until now?
Greg Kelly broke it yesterday. Greg Kelly broke this. Whatever Kash Patel and Bongino were doing, I don't care what it is, they need to drop it and find this guy. And I think it's 50-50 that they'll be able to find him and identify him. If he's just an idiot who did it with an agency, they may be able to. His face is clear. They can use facial recognition to find him. But if he's part of a plot, they may never find him or identify him. It's the most disturbing video you've ever seen in something like this. It's crazy. Total crazy town. And because of the incompetence of the one overweight agent not finding her holster, everybody, when you watch the video, you're watching her. Your eyes on her, not this guy. And Greg Kelly discovered this. And the reason I brought up the Zapruder film, it is not unusual in these instances for a lot of time to go by before video or photographs of the scene are found. And this is what Greg Kelly should get a Pulitzer Prize for this when it's all over. And I know that he has reached out to the president. He's had to have tried to get a hold of the president about this. He's had to. So that's the story, Steve.
It's wild.
It's scary.
It's really incoherent.
No, it's not. It's just you haven't seen it. It's hard. It's hard for me.
I'll zero in on the part unfathomable. If this was an action of ill intention, he had a perfect opportunity to shoot at the president.
Now, what? Two bits of bulletproof glass. He may have rethought it.
I think you think about that before.
And I mean, Steve, when he moved, you haven't seen the you haven't. Let me tell you, you haven't seen the video. You wouldn't be talking this way if you saw the video. He's standing properly with his rifle. When they put the president in the SUV, it almost looked like an instinctive reaction. He moves right in front of the SUV and aims the rifle at the president through the windows.
Doesn't pull the trigger.
He's got 2 planes of bulletproof glass in front of him. And he's in front of the world. When you see the video, you won't be asked, you'll be sickened. All right, let's take some calls. If you've seen the video, I'd really like to hear from you. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, good morning. It's Ed from Fort Lauderdale.
Hey, Fort Lauderdale.
Hey, about that video, the Trump shooting there, has anyone discussed any further than what is being alleged?
This just broke. Greg Kelly just broke this.
Okay.
There hasn't been, no one's processed it. It hasn't been, this is new. This is literally breaking news.
Okay, so if I could say a few things that may be able to put this to rest for a little bit anyway.
Have you seen the video?
Yes, a couple times. The optics of that video is misleading. That individual is offset of the SUV, of the vehicle. So in other words, he's off to the side, a little bit further forward, and yes, it looks like he's pointing that weapon at the windshield. He's really parallel to that vehicle.
You cannot determine that on the. I've watched that video several times. I'm going to pull it up again, in fact, as we're talking.
It's kind of like one of these things where you have a tourist going to Italy and he puts his hand out, looks like he's holding the Leaning Tower of Pisa. You know what I mean?
No.
It looks like one thing, but
Doesn't. No. It doesn't. It doesn't look like that. And Greg Kelly is a very credible journalist, and he doesn't agree. He went public with it.
The weapon that the individual is holding is an M4, it's an AR-15 platform, and more than likely,
the gun's too blurry to determine that for sure. You got a lot of opinions that you're sounding factual when there's no way to determine either thing you've said.
He's more than likely Secret Service, or he's a local.
I'm watching the video now, and I am watching the video now. He is not off to the side. He is directly in front of the car, of the SUV. I just watched it again.
It appears that way.
No, there's no other video. No,
Look, everybody in the audience is.
I wish you would have seen it, Steve, because this guy is insane. This guy on the line is almost like working for the other team here. Appreciate the call. I mean, all right, I appreciate the call. No, that guy is so wrong, Steve. I mean, he's just, no. I just watched the video again, and this isn't just me, okay? Greg Kelly and his team went through this before he made it public, okay? And others have seen it, and you cannot fully identify the weapon. In fact, somebody else called and said it was another type of weapon a few minutes ago. The weapon's a little blurry, but he has a strong stance in front of that SUV. Now, if another video comes out from another angle and shows something different, we'll talk. But no, this is breaking news. Greg Kelly broke the news, and no one has noticed this before. All right, listen, Steve, we're going to take our first break of the hour. I'm going to put you on hold. Call us on hold. You stand by. Our number's toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. I want to talk about Joe Thomas. You know, here's the thing. Everybody and their brother is calling me, how's your 401k? How are your stocks? I don't worry about that stuff. I don't own stocks. I don't have a 401k. You know, and if you're with Jupiter Joe Thomas and you have annuities, you're not going to worry either, because with an annuity, your money is always safe. If the market could crash tomorrow, your nest egg is going to be safe and secure. And not only that, with an annuity, you're guaranteed income for the rest of your life. Joe Thomas is offering free phone consultations. And you can take advantage of the free phone consultation no matter where you are located, okay? And I'm going to give you his number. If you miss the number I give you, go to his website, jupiterjoe.com. And at jupiterjoe.com, you'll find it. But here's his number. Give him a call. And Joe Thomas, he'll speak with you himself and put together a custom proposal for you based on your situation, your goals, and your needs. 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. That's 561-743-0999. And online, jupiterjoe.com. We'll be right back. Steve, you there?
I'm here.
All right, hang in there. Every line is full. Oh, Steve, hold on. Everybody can hear you. All right, stand by. You there, Steve?
Yes, I am.
Okay. We'll be back in just over a minute. Every line's full. Watch. We're going to get all the Trump haters who tell us, oh, no, he's off to the side now because of that guy. I just watched the video 2 more times. He is directly in front of the vehicle. We'll be back in 1 minute. He's directly in front of the vehicle. It blows my mind. We can only talk about what we have in our possession, not what might be. You know? Well, if there's a video here or there. That's just stupid. It's on my X, on my Twitter, Brian Craig Show. Watch the video. I just watched it 2 more times just now. All right, Steve, we're back. Every line on the board is lit. You want to take some calls?
Yes.
All right, let's go. I'm going to make a prediction. All the never Trumpers are going to call in and say, oh, he's off to the side, because that guy just said that. I watched the video that Greg Kelly showed, okay, from Newsmax, who's the best, right? I know Rob Schmidt's good too, but I really like Greg Kelly. His dad was the police commissioner. He knows the president. I just watched the video 2 more times during the break, and every time I watch it, I get goosebumps, Steve. It's that bad. I mean, it's like having video of Oswald. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My girl from Fort Lauderdale.
All right, Fort Lauderdale.
Hi, Brian.
So I haven't seen the video, but how does this guy walk away after that? I mean, and obviously he knows he's going to be murdered.
I don't know. That's why we need Cash Patel and Dan Bongino to identify him and bring him in for questioning. He should be number one on their agenda today.
Right, but does it show in the video how he walks away from that or no?
He aims briefly and then withdraws.
Okay. All right. So the other thing is about Christi Noem. As soon as I heard that story, I figured that it was an inside job and they were trying to make sure.
Well, we got a bad connection with you today, but I appreciate the call. Okay, very bad connection. The update with Christi Noem I went over in the last hour. It's total BS. The Christi Noem update. Okay, total BS. In fact, it backs up my theory that it was a deep state op. All right, our number is 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call. I wish I could show you guys the video, but I can't. But if you and we're on the radio. But if you go to my X, my Twitter, Brian Craig Show, you can see it there. Greg Kelly is in the video and shows it and walks you through it. It's very short. I've watched it, I don't know, maybe 8 or 10 times now. And it's pretty bad. And the guy that did it, you can see his face. So they've got to be able to identify him through facial recognition or maybe on the list of people that were there in camouflage clothing.
So when you watched it, what did you think you were watching?
It looked to me like I was seeing a soldier on a mission. In the beginning, he's just standing there almost at attention with the rifle properly pointed directly up. They put the president in the SUV. He moves, steps in front of the SUV, and Greg Kelly zooms in so you can see it. He's not off to the side. And then he takes his rifle and aims it straight towards the windshield of the president's SUV. He aims briefly, then he backs up and withdraws, and then puts the rifle back where it belongs. Very strange.
Very strange is right.
It is very strange and disturbing and scary. You know,
well, let's get some other feedback.
I will in a minute. Just bear with me. If you're on hold, hang in there. And the phones are ringing like crazy. Hold on. So I'm going to put you on hold so you can answer these 5,000 lines. All right, Steve. You want to hold on. All right, Steve. You want to take these calls? All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, IB and Broward.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to pound my head on the wall if you take another call from these due process people.
All right. Did you see the video? Did you see the video?
No, but to comment on the video, I'm not going to play their games. Okay. The point: this guy has a rifle. It's for long distance, and it should be pointed down and always pointed out. The president is in the vehicle. He shouldn't have the weapon pointed at the vehicle, period. It's supposed to be pointed out. We're looking for
Absolutely.
threats. So we're not going to play their game and talking about angles, okay? He pointed it at the vehicle.
The only thing we can talk about now is the video we have, not what might exist. If some new video comes out and shows something different, okay. But this is what we got now.
I'm not going to play them games. Now listen, as for the purse, how conspicuous can you be dressed in black with a mask on, getting that close to this person? Even if it's a real person, wouldn't that person you would kind of like notice if you were in the restaurant? Would you kind of like keep an eye on
the update on Christi Noem? The update on Christi Noem is a man by himself wearing dark clothing and a surgical mask, sat down at an empty table next to her, stole the purse, and walked out. I don't buy that. I do not buy that story.
Forget about all the cameras you talk about in the vicinity being DC and all. We're not going to find out anything about that guy.
Nope.
Obviously, it's an inside job, as we would say. Right?
That's right. In fact, I mean, that happened Sunday. So we got Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, it's Wednesday. they haven't found this guy and arrested him, I don't buy it.
Yeah.
All right, IB. I appreciate the call. All right, let me put everybody on hold. I want to talk about coastal weight loss secret. If you're on hold, hang in there. And you know, when I first went and met with Coastal Weight Loss Secret, I was on their system for 2 weeks before I told you guys. I'd never been on any type of diet or weight loss program or anything in my life, and I wanted to make sure I could do it before I started telling you all to do it. And I lost weight right away in those first 2 weeks. I can't remember how much I lost in the first 2 weeks. I lost about 15 pounds in the first 2 weeks. It was amazing. I've lost a total of 35 pounds, no exercise, no medications like Ozempic, and I'm eating foods I would normally eat. Coastal Weight Loss Secret works, and it can help you lose weight too. No matter how much you want to lose. You want to lose 20 pounds, 40, 50, 150, or even more, give Coastal Weight Loss Secret a call. When you call, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the True Oldies channel. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. That's 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightloss.secret.com. My name's Brian. You're listening to the Steve Kane Radio Show. Callers on hold, stand by. We're going to take our bottom of the hour break and be right back. Steve, you there? Okay. Okay, I gotcha. Okay, hold on. All right, Steve, hang in there. Yeah, hang in there, Steve. Stand by. Okay. We'll be back in about 90 seconds.
Okay, 90 seconds.
All right, if you're on hold, hang in there.
What do you want me to do?
No, just stay where you're at. Just stay where you're at. Somebody in the chat said, if they come out with a new video, will you say you were wrong? Yes. If there's a new yes. What do you think I am, an idiot? Of course. But Greg Kelly didn't go public with this video just without looking at it and then doing some other video comes out, of course. We think I'm a Democrat? Oh my goodness. But it wouldn't be me that was wrong, it'd be Greg Kelly. But no, I'd say, yeah, okay, we got some new video. No need to look into this any further. Absolutely. Just like if they get the purse snatcher and, you know, we get some different stories, I'll say, okay. The update on the purse snatcher is so stupid. Not even credible. All right, 30 seconds. All right, we're back. I'm Brian. Steve is here. Oh, you know, Steve, I got a call today. You'd have loved this. If you heard this call, you'd have laughed. Some guy called in, and he was trying to insult me. And he said, I'm only good at a couple of things. He said, I'm only good at doing commercials and being entertaining. He thought he was insulting me. That's the greatest compliment you could give, guys. Okay? All right, now if you're on hold, stand by. Before we go to the phones, I just want to, I really want to hear from people who have seen the video. And I just want to say two things. Somebody in the YouTube live chat room asked during the break, if other video comes out and shows something different, will you say that something different happened and you were wrong? Yeah, of course. But I didn't discover this video. Greg Kelly from Newsmax did. And he went public with this video to his very large audience, and he's a very credible person. So yeah, if something new comes out, I will admit that, okay, we know something different now. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Cheryl. I'm from Bradenton, Florida.
Hey, Cheryl.
Hey, Sarah.
Hi, thanks for taking my call.
Cheryl.
Okay, and I love your show. I just wanted to comment. Last Saturday, Zach DiGregorio from Wolves and Finance had on his YouTube channel that same footage along with several
No,
other
we're not here to
footages.
promote other people that we don't know and everything else. And no, they did not. Greg Kelly broke this on Newsmax. It's like my Swift Boat commercial. There's a lot of people trying to take credit for this. Greg Kelly from Newsmax broke this story, okay? Not somebody trying to promote their YouTube channel. I want to tell you guys, before we go back to the phones, the Christi Noem purse snatch update. For those that missed this earlier. This is not even credible, Steve. Not even credible. This is being reported by CNN, and it's in the Daily Mail today. Now, keep in mind, Christi Noem has a massive Secret Service detail. They're saying a man wearing dark clothing and a surgical mask sat down by himself at an empty table next to Christi Noem, stole the purse, and walked out. So a man sat down at an empty table next to her and used his foot to move the purse over, the big Gucci, and the Secret Service didn't notice this? No, that's complete BS. And the fact that they have not gotten him 3 days after the purse snatching, this all backs up my theory that it was an op to try to get her cell phone. A caller called in earlier and mentioned, I'd forgotten about this. Not only did they go after Mike Lindell's cell phone and get it, they took James O'Keefe's cell phone. So these deep staters are big into getting cell phones because everybody's life is on their cell phone. The cell phone get is a fishing expedition. They think they'll find emails or text messages. And for those of you who might say, oh, that's what Never Trumper Steve said yesterday. No, Never Trumper Steve said he was with a group having dinner at a table next to them. The CNN story is he sat down at an empty table by himself with no food on it, wearing dark clothing and a mask, and he moved his foot over and grabbed the purse, picked it up, and walked out. That's not credible. Not with somebody under a large Secret Service protection detail. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian. This is Tony in Margate. How are you doing, Steve?
Hey, Tony.
Hey, Brian, just a quick question. It used to be when you're on hold, you could hear the show.
Well, it depends on what studio I'm at. I'm at a different studio. But that's not why you called. What's on your mind?
Brian, I just want to make a prediction. This story that you're talking about the guy aiming the weapon at the president's car, it's going to go nowhere. No one else is going to report this because there's nothing to it, Brian.
Have you seen the video? Have you seen the video?
Yeah.
Why would he point the right? Why would he aim his rifle at the windshield of President Trump's vehicle?
Well, I agree with the caller that said you can't really tell where he's at.
Yes, you can. I have watched that video 10 times. Greg Kelly zooms in. You can tell exactly where he is. Go back and watch it on a bigger screen.
So, Brian, what you're suggesting this guy should?
No, I'm not suggesting. I'm not suggesting. Greg Kelly from Newsmax TV, who has a whole team of producers, came across this video, analyzed it, and went public with it. Now, if other video comes out, and shows that he didn't do that, I'll say, okay, Greg Kelly was wrong. But I can't deal with what may happen in the future. This is what we have now, and this guy needs to be picked up, questioned, and this needs to be investigated. You agree with that, right?
That's not going to happen. No, that's not going to happen.
Why not?
Because there's nothing to this. This guy was there. He was clearly authorized to be there. I mean, he was standing right
Was he?
to the beef.
Yeah, there was another guy with a rifle there. The shooter himself. Wait a minute. There was another man with a rifle there, the shooter that shot the president. Just because you're there with a gun doesn't mean you're authorized or on a good mission.
This guy, but the difference is, Brian, this guy was standing right next to the president's car.
Uh-huh.
So you're telling me that no one knew who he was?
Well, let me ask you. Let me ask you this question. Hold on. Let me ask you this question, and just it'll tell me where you're coming from. Do you believe?
I'm an ever-Trumper.
Oh, okay. Okay, you're a never Trumper, so you're upset at how Butler turned out. You don't believe the government shot the president.
Brian, no, stop. No, Brian.
No. You don't believe. I'll call you what I want. You don't believe. Hold on a second. Do you believe? I'll tell you whatever I want to tell you. I will tell you whatever I want to tell you. Do you believe that President Trump was shot by a lone gunman, or there was a conspiracy involved with it?
I believe it was a lone gunman.
Well, then why did he have Ukrainian phone numbers on his cell phone, like the other two assassins?
Okay, well, we're changing the subject.
No, it's the same subject. No, it's the same subject.
Uh-huh.
There were 3 Trump assassins, Butler, the golf course, and then there was a new guy last week. All 3 of them have Ukrainian connections. The Butler shooter had a Ukrainian phone number on one of his cell phones. Okay? Why do we, so how can you say there's no conspiracy when all 3 have solid Ukrainian connections?
Brian, I don't know about that, but I do know that if there was some conspiracy, as you call it, to have the president killed, you think they would have picked this guy from Pennsylvania that couldn't even shoot straight?
A patsy? What happened was, he could shoot. Hold on a second. He could shoot straight. 2 things happened that weren't part of the plan. One, for the first time ever, the jumbotron screen that President Trump would look at was on the opposite side of the stage. It was on stage left. It's usually on the other side. That's one thing that threw their plan off. The second is he got discovered by the people in the crowd, the shooter. An officer climbed the ladder up to the roof right as he was about to shoot and disturbed him and startled him. And those 2 things are why, while he didn't miss, his aim wasn't as perfect as it would have been.
If we could return to the purpose of my call, the guy that was standing in front of the car, you're jumping to the conclusion that he was unknown.
No, I didn't say he was unknown. I didn't say he was unknown.
From Mexico, he's carrying a long gun, standing in front of the president's car.
The guy that shot the president had a long gun.
Nobody knows. But Brian, you're talking about someone that was within feet of the president's car.
That's right.
Isn't that kind of a big difference? Isn't that a kind of a big difference?
It needs to be investigated. Don't you agree?
It won't be.
Now, I didn't ask you, will it be? Should it be investigated?
No.
Oh, no. All right. I appreciate the call. We got a guy pointing a rifle at the president, and this never Trumper says it shouldn't be investigated. That's exactly what I suspected. You're on the air. What a stupid thing to say. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian from Deerfield.
Hey, Brian.
Hi, Brian. Hi, Steve. How are you? Brian, I just got through watching that video a number of times. And everybody in the audience, I think, needs to really take a look at that video, take a good look at it. I think what's going on there, that when President Trump is getting into the car, he's still a mobile target. When he's in the car and sitting down, that's when it looks like the guy lowers the barrel of the gun and he becomes a stationary target. Why is he pointing that gun inside the car? I mean, you made a great point. What is the purpose of that?
And there's no for someone to say that guy should not be identified and hauled in front of Bongino and Patel and questioned. That's crazy.
Absolutely. I mean, it's really a crime. I mean, we did a thorough investigation of this attempted assassination, and nobody has caught this. I love Greg Kelly's terrific, but where is the investigation into this?
Yeah, and you watched the video. What these guys are saying.
I did.
Well, if there's another video that shows, there's no other videos right now. Okay, this is a program where we talk about news as it happens. News is developing. This is a developing story. It's breaking news now, but it's a developing story. Yeah. So a new video may come out today that shows something different. But we don't have that now. We don't work in the world of, well, aliens could invade the earth and reveal something. We got to talk about what we got now.
Well, the thing is, why would he lower the gun when the president is sitting in that car? From whatever angle they're talking about.
You
He's
don't.
right in front of the car. I mean,
Yeah.
Really,
in fact, when you see those military dress guys come out on the stage after the shooting, their guns are pointed down. This guy's gun was aimed at right at the windshield of the car that President Trump had just gotten into.
And it looks like from my angle, I saw the same video you do. It kind of looks to me like it's aimed at the passenger side.
It does.
I can't tell for sure, but that's what it looked like to me. Now, was this guy on the stage at all? Do we know that?
It looked like he was right in front of the stage.
Yeah.
And he's standing there like at attention.
Well, does it look like we have a conspiracy on our hands now?
I know we had a conspiracy yesterday, now another one today. Listen, they shot President Trump. They tried to shoot him again a couple weeks later at the golf course. The Secret Service agent at the golf course shooter, guys, I've told you, go to my YouTube channel, watch my documentary film that I made, going to the spot where the shooter was just a couple of days later. Right. The Secret Service agent fired at him 5 times and missed. Come on. And then we've got this other assassin last week. All 3 of them have strong, solid Ukrainian connections. There have been at least, according to the local news here in Palm Beach, over the weekend, did a local story on violations of restricted airspace in and around Mar-a-Lago. There have been 25 in President Trump's second term. 25.
How come that's not reported by the mainstream?
How the hell does that happen?
25.
At least.
Yeah. Now, this guy was even closer than the shooter on the golf course.
Yes.
This guy was point blank.
Yes.
I mean, this is ridiculous. They gotta get the bombers, and they should demand that this be.
I hope it's nothing. I want to be wrong about this. I want Greg Kelly to be wrong about this. Okay, Greg Kelly broke this story, not the person that called in trying to promote their YouTube channel to our audience. Okay, Greg Kelly broke this story.
I'm hoping it was just a case, the overweight lady who couldn't holster her pistol. I'm hoping this guy just didn't know what he was doing, and he just,
I hope.
Just to lower the gun, didn't know what he's doing. It doesn't look like that, though. It doesn't look like
Again,
it.
Listen. I have watched the video at least 10 times today, and I blew it up as big as I could. It looks like he's directly in front of it. Now, there can be optical illusions, like those Border Patrol on horseback at the border. Okay. But this is what we've got now. And we got it. That's what you start with. If an investigation reveals some other footage and we find out he wasn't there, that's different. But this guy, go ahead.
Even from the angle that we have, he's so close to the car. It doesn't look like the angle would change that much. It looks like it's just point blank. He's right in front of the car.
Exactly.
I mean,
even if it was just stupidity. Whatever agency he's with, he should be removed from. He is an irresponsible person to have a gun. He's not a responsible gun person.
I think they need to reopen the investigation of this again. They really.
I'm telling you, it's 50-50 whether he's identified.
That's amazing.
In my opinion.
That's amazing.
50-50.
Well, I hate to say this, but was the original shooter there to set him up so that when he came around to get out in the car, that was the principal shooter?
I don't know. I mean, you're talking about there's at least 2 planes of bulletproof glass in front of him. So, it's almost like one call. I did not notice this, okay? I'll look for this next time. One caller said it looked like he got a radio call. So did he aim and then they told him on the radio, hey, there's 2 planes of bulletproof glass? Come on.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I have to watch it again and pay attention to that.
All right, appreciate
right in front of the car.
Appreciate the call. All right, we're going to take our last break of the day for the gold report, and Steve, the gold's been going nuts, hasn't it?
Oh, it's unbelievable.
I know. But after we talk to William Youngerman, we will go to the phones. All right, all our lines are lit. I'm not going to limit the calls to this. But I think it's more productive for us to talk to people who have actually seen the video. And so far as the Never Trumper, to say that this shouldn't be investigated, Okay, come on. All I'm calling for is to look into this. I'm not saying this guy was going to shoot President Trump. What I'm saying is it looks very strange. It's not right. It's off. And he needs to be identified, questioned, and this needs to be investigated. That's what I'm telling you guys. And I don't see how any reasonable American could say that this should not be investigated. That's crazy when you see the video. After the show, Steve, watch the video. You're going to be like, holy smokes. You're going to be free. All right, if you're on hold, hang in there. Every line on the board is lit. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show, celebrating 48 years on the radio. My name is Brian Craig. Steve Kane is here. We'll take our break for the Gold Report and be right back. Hey there, hold on. Steve, you there? Steve?
Yeah.
All right, hold on. I'm going to conference William in. All right, William, stand by. We'll be back shortly.
Okay.
William, you there?
Yes.
Okay, stand by. We'll be back in just over a minute. All right, 30 seconds. All right, welcome back. It's Wednesday. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian. Steve's here. It's time to check in with William Youngerman with today's look at the gold and precious metals market. William Youngerman, how are the gold and the other metals looking today?
The metals are looking very interesting. Gold giving us a buying opportunity after yesterday's record high, hitting $3,500 an ounce yesterday before reversing and then going down on the day and closing down $43.70 Overall, gold traded in a range of $3,366 on the low to $3,500 basically on the high, closing out the day at $33.79.70. That was down $43.70. Silver was down 17 cents at $32.46 the ounce. Platinum lost $7 on at $9.56, and palladium was down $4 at $912. And of course, people have been waiting for this pullback when and where it would come from. So the stock markets were way up yesterday. Markets all over the place this whole week so far. But gold trading in a range overnight of $3,292 on the low to $3,388 on the high. And right now we're at $3,320. That's down another $59.70. So basically we've lost about $180 from the $3,500 record high that we saw yesterday. But that's nothing new because we've seen this same kind of action in gold since it began this meteoric rise. And what we see is we will see it make an all-new record high, then reverse lower, and then digest the gains for a couple of days, give us a buying opportunity, and then shoot right back up and go through those record highs. So one day does not a market make, so take advantage of this dip because it looks like it's going to give us a great opportunity to buy metal.
Yeah.
Now, on the other side, the white metals have gone up in contrast to the yellow gold, which they've been lacking. Silver up 40 cents this morning at $32.85 the ounce. Platinum up $14 at $970. and palladium up $19 at $9.31. So great buying opportunity for the gold today.
No doubt. You know, you were telling us the other day, William Youngerman, that a lot of the people that buy a little bit more than an ounce at a time are buying bars these days at these incredible prices. When it comes to gold in bar form, what are people coming in during this incredible gold time and picking up?
Yeah, we're selling a lot of 10-ounce gold bars these days. A lot of 10-ounce gold bars and some kilo bars, but a lot of the 10-ounce gold bars, it's easy for them to stack them, and it's a very solid investment. It just gives you a easy amount to stack and count and so on. But that's for larger buyers. You know, the coins are great for if you're buying under 100 ounces.
Now, if people that are buying gold in the ounce size, what are the best buys right now in the gold 1 ounce coins?
Pretty much everything is on sale as far as the premiums are concerned. The gold eagles are really good value right now. But
wow.
Those premiums we're now selling those below the mint cost.
Get out of town.
That gives everybody a great opportunity.
Wait a minute. Is that the American Gold Eagle you're selling below the mint cost?
That's correct.
What about the American Gold Buffaloes? How are those looking?
Buffaloes are still a higher premium.
Yeah. So the American Gold Eagle guys, that's a big reversal on. I don't know if I've ever heard you say that before about the American Gold Eagle below the mint price. Listen, William, you guys that are into your American Gold Eagles, you know the significance of that. Give William Youngerman a call. He opens up at 10 a.m. at 1-800-327-5010. 1-800-327-5010. Remember, you can do all your transactions with William Youngerman over the phone and through the mail. 1-800-327-5010. Or stop in. And remember, at William Youngerman's in Boca, all the metals are available for immediate delivery. 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca, on the first floor of the Bank of America building, immediately east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. And you can find both his address and phone number on his website, WilliamYoungerman.com. That's WilliamYoungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman, we'll talk tomorrow.
Okay, have a great day.
All right, take care. The gold report is amazing, Steve.
It'll be the hot point of the show.
Okay, we're going to go back to the phones. And obviously, you can talk about anything we brought up on the program today, but I'd like to stick to this video. And I do want to say this, okay? This video was broken by Greg Kelly, not me. I am reporting that Greg Kelly reported this. And if you noticed, the people that have called in, and this is very significant, in my opinion, okay? The people that have called in today and questioned this video and don't want an investigation done, all of them have been never Trumpers. Every one of them. Not one MAGA person. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, good morning. It's Frenchie.
Frenchie, turn down the volume of whatever device you're listening to us on.
I got it right. How's that? Hey, I saw this last night on Newsmax, and I thought that this is going to be the first thing he's going to talk about tomorrow morning. Forget the migrant from Maryland or whoever that guy is.
Well, I was waiting for Steve. I was waiting for Steve to bring it up. I brought it up a little bit before he came on.
Oh, you have to wait for Steve.
No, I didn't have to. I made an editorial decision. I didn't have to. Steve didn't even know about it.
I know. But I said the same thing. I said, "Holy geez, this is bad." I mean, that guy pointed the gun right inside there.
What did you hear the never Trumper? Did you hear the
talking to someone?
Frenchie?
You can see him talking to someone when he's doing it.
That's right. Did you hear Frenchie, the never Trumper earlier, who doesn't even want this investigated? I mean, what the heck?
Oh, I don't know. Who? Steve from?
I don't know what his name was.
City?
I don't know what his name was.
Steve from Palm City.
No, it's not that never Trumper. Another never Trumper.
Oh, there's too many of them anyways.
That's true. All right, Frenchie. Bye. Take care. Yeah, and if you notice, there's two types of people that have called in that have seen the video. MAGA people and never Trumpers. MAGA people want it investigated. The never Trumpers don't. Why would you not want that investigated? It makes no sense at all to not want that investigated. All right, every line on the board is lit. I'm Brian. Steve is here. I'm just answering all, we have like 10,000 phone calls coming in right now. So the phones are overloaded, so I'm just waiting just a minute, then we'll take some of these calls. I'm putting everybody on hold. To see the video in question with Greg Kelly, guys, if you've not seen it, go to my Twitter, my X, whatever you call it, Brian Craig Show on X, on Twitter, and I have it there. You see Greg Kelly in the video, and then he zooms in and points out what we're talking about. And you can see that this guy is right in front of the SUV. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, what's up, Brian? Steve, this is Jess from Ohio.
All right, Ohio, what's up?
Not much. These liberals are lunatics today.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they are.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just wanted to call and say how crazy that is about the military guy.
Have you seen the video?
Being there. Yeah, I watched it just a little bit ago when you was talking about it.
And your thoughts? How would you describe it?
I think there's something going on with him. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
Something's not right about him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that the FBI director and
Kash
Ted
Patel
Bundy and all of them, they need to get on that.
I don't care what Kash Patel and Bongino were doing today. Okay? Whatever they're doing, drop it. Identify this guy, bring him in, question him, and investigate this.
Yeah, but
All right.
like you said, they might not even be able to identify the guy.
That's right. I tell you, it's 50-50.
So
50-50.
yeah, but if it's possible, man, they really need to get on.
Now,
it
if he's
as
and now
possible
again, now
to figure out.
if he's just a stupid guy who did something stupid, well, just take his badge away from him. He should not be law enforcement. We don't know who he's with. He could be federal or local. We don't know. But he's in military clothing, and it looks like a military weapon. But for somebody to say it shouldn't even, yeah, go ahead.
Kind of looks like a SWAT guy or something like that.
Could be. He looked, those guys that came out on stage with the rifles. He looks like them. He's dressed like them. Looks like the same type of rifle.
Yeah.
All right, appreciate the call. Take care.
Yeah.
All right, so we got some wise people in the audience. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Justin, formerly of Huntington Beach, California. I think I talked to your number a couple of times before. Anyways, I'm in the Space Coast now in Melbourne. I have two comments. Number one, about the Zapruder film. I was 5 years old when all of that happened, but I've watched numerous other documentaries and stuff about it, and I believe Mr. Zapruder was a Jewish merchant in the Dallas area.
A Jewish merchant?
Yeah.
What a strange description. Do you hear that, Steve? A Jewish merchant.
Yeah. Anyways, but it's very interesting. Anyways.
No, hold on. Slow down a second. Slow down. What is interesting about him being a Jew?
Nothing other than that he was a citizen and he was a clothing store.
You said he was a Jewish merchant. I mean, I've never heard that before. I mean, it sounds like I'm talking to some guy calling me from Munich in 1933. I mean, what a strange thing to say.
I don't know, but anyways.
Do you support Israel or the Gaza Hamas people?
Oh no, I can't stand Hamas.
Okay, all right, okay. But do you support it? Do you support Israel?
Yes.
Okay.
Unequivocally.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. So,
Bizarre.
at any rate, my recollection about the whole Zapruder film is he gave that to the authorities at the time, like maybe 2 or 3 days afterwards, if even sooner than that.
And they sat on it?
And I believe it was No, I believe it was the FBI. No, they processed it. It was the only thing. This was
okay. We're out of time for today, but I don't think the world knew about it for years, or at least until the Warren Commission. That's my. I could be wrong. I got to run. We're out of time. Steve, we're out of time for today. Just 5 seconds. It's the Steve Kane Show. Steve Kane has been here. I'm Brian Craig. We'll see you tomorrow, 6 a.m. All right, I'll continue to take a couple more calls before I end those. So if you want to call in, you can. Oh, hold on. Nope. Oh, I just disconnected everybody by mistake when we cut away from the show. Okay, I'll give you a few thoughts on the film. I can't show it here on YouTube because it involves a weapon and everything. I can't show it. The Greg, I'm going to call, instead of the Zapruder film, this will be known as the Greg Kelly film for me. The Greg Kelly film is on my Twitter, my X, whatever you call it, Brian Craig Show. Go and watch that video. Go and watch that video. Okay? And hopefully Greg Kelly's wrong, and we've got a new video from a different angle. But there's a couple things. If you want to call in, you're welcome to call in. There's a couple things that I didn't get to. Just give me a second here. That I want to share, okay? This, I didn't get a chance to get to this on the radio today because the Greg Kelly film. But this was a very powerful interview that Tucker Carlson did with the president of El Salvador, this great El Salvadorian president. And he's talking about MS-13. He says they're Satanist, and he talks about how they rose, how they grew, and Bill Clinton's role in the growth of MS-13. And this blew me away. So this is Tucker interviewing the president of El Salvador. Yeah. Okay, now this is the president of El Salvador. Tucker Carlson's interviewing him, and he's going through the history of MS-13, and this just blew me away. Now, stop there. Notice Bill Clinton was deporting them. I don't remember during the Clinton years any federal judges, Democrat or Republican, ordering Bill Clinton to stop the deportations of these gang members. This president of El Salvador, he's amazing. I wish he was an American citizen, you know? I mean, he is such a competent guy. We could really use him in this country, couldn't we? Now listen to this. Now, okay, now this last part, listen carefully, because he's going to go through what happened that makes him say they're a satanic organization. Because I know a lot of people throw satanic around, and the president of El Salvador here is going to go through something that is just twisted, man. Wow, that's how many he killed. Crazy. Oh my goodness. Wow. Baby sacrifice. I mean, that's the president of El Salvador. Pretty scary, isn't it? Yeah, that's MS-13. That's who these Democrats are trying to keep in this country and bring back to this country. Yeah. If you're new to my channel, my name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. And if you're already subscribed, if you could do me the favor of liking the video and sharing the video on your socials, I'd greatly appreciate it. Take care, guys. I'll have a new podcast episode later today, the Brian Craig Show podcast, which I upload here on my YouTube channel with a live chat. But my podcast is also available on all podcast platforms. And, of course, if you want to support my content, go to mypillow.com, use my promo code Kane at checkout, and every time you use my promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E, at mypillow.com, you save a lot of money on great MyPillow products, but you're also supporting my content. And this after show that I do a few times a week is very specifically brought to you by Mike Lindell and MyPillow. And you can see there's great deals going on. The Percale bed sheets, I have these on my guest bed. I've slept on them. They are so good. Any size, any color, just $25 with my promo code Kane at checkout. There's 11 different colors. And when they say any size, that's twin, single, queen, king, full, California king, split king, whatever size it is, just $25. It's a great deal. But when they're gone, they're gone. And you can use my promo code Kane at checkout on all the specials at mypillow.com, not just the ones I talk about. The MyPillow towels, which are a must-have. You've never dried off with a proper towel until you've used a MyPillow towel. Just $39.98. That's $30 off with my promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E, at mypillow.com. You can also order by phone, toll-free, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879, promo code Kane, K-A-N-E, at checkout. Well, guys, my name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Thanks for watching, and look out for the podcast later.